Okay. Awesome. How's it going, everybody? Thanks, Pay to Win. Oh yeah, I guess I need to open the guest queue. That'll probably help. That way we can actually have some conversations. And hopefully we can have some good ones this evening. That is, of course, the goal. Have some nice, good faith, linear debates about whether there's justification to believe in God. Yeah. Oh, there we go. Poopman Jones. Hey. All right. So, looking to talk to folks who are 18 plus and have some kind of argument or evidence that would provide rational justification to believe in a God. Thought I had somebody requesting, but in the time it took me to say that, they left. So, I guess not. But yeah, hopefully we can have good convos. Thanks for the shares and the likes, everybody, and already people supporting Pay to Win and Poopman Jones. Appreciate you so much. That's true. Colette was first, and nobody should forget that. I've been trying to upload more of the like stickers and stuff, little whatever. Um, I need to get rid of the backgrounds on them though. That's annoying. Um, but yeah, let's try to make it more fun. Yeah, immediately. Thanks, Drew. Thanks, Drew, for the heart me. Um, Also, tonight, we actually have a chance tonight of hitting 4,000 followers. That would be fucking awesome. I definitely would be extremely stoked to hit that milestone. Um, but we'll see whether or not it happens. Um, hey, Drew. Thanks again for the support. But yeah, we're up over 3,900 followers right now. Hey, Obelisk early as well. Um, I should um okay. We're gonna do one of these. I'm niche? Yeah, I mean I guess I'm niche. That's probably true. Okay. Hey, thank you, Susie. Appreciate your support. Um oh, I thought like Catholic thinker, I thought you were saying you're actually in the Caribbean. Okay, but if you're in the guest queue or thinking about joining the guest queue, make sure oh my god. Right when I'm about to bring people up, they run away. Uh Obelisk, don't be giving them ammo. But yeah, if you are thinking about joining the guest queue to come up and debate, make sure that you're an adult and that you have some kind of argument or evidence that would provide rational justification to believe in a God. That's important. Both of those things are very important. You want to make sure that you actually believe in a God, that you have some kind of argument or evidence, and that you are actually an adult. Um, Whoa, is that a video game? I'm assuming it's a video game, Catholic thinker. But yeah, if you're in the guest queue or thinking about joining, make sure you're an adult and you have some kind of argument or evidence for God. Hi, Dino. How old are you? Okay, just immediately going to be making noises. We'll probably wait for a serious interlocutor. Oh, it's an Assassin's Creed game. That sounds fun. I remember. Oh wait, no, never mind. I was gonna say I played an early Assassin's Creed game, but that would have. Oh no, maybe I did. Maybe I played like the first one. Embodiment of heaven has a pen. That's disgusting, Obelisk, and I'll appreciate it if you delete that comment. uh, Maybe I've played an Assassin's Creed game before. Certainly not like a significant amount of it, but maybe like spent 20 minutes on one or something. Back when like the first one came out or something like that. Because I'm old. Um, Hey, yeah. Rockstar indeed. Okay, yeah, but if you're in the guest queue or thinking about joining, make sure that you're 18 plus and you have some kind of argument or evidence that will provide justification to believe in God. Hi, John. How old are you? Really? Nothing? Fair enough. I guess he was sleeping.
So, hi,
Hi, how old
hello.
are you?
I'm 22.
Okay. Do you believe in a God?
Yes, I do believe in God. I am a Christian. I was an atheist, and I believe Jesus saved me.
Okay. And then what would you
I
say
was
is the best argument or evidence that would provide rational justification to believe
okay.
in God?
Um, can I explain a little bit of my story first?
Nope. Please do not.
Just
Please do not.
okay.
I
Okay, don't worry.
implore you.
I respect you. I respect you. Okay, fine. Like I said in a comment, there is a lot of testimonies and a lot of discussions and videos of people that explain what God made in their life,
Yep, that's
and
fine. I don't care
even
about any of
miracles.
those. I care about those just as little as I care about your story. If you want me to care about people's stories, what you would need to do is give me a reason, like the tool that I can use to determine who is accurately interpreting their personal experience and who isn't. Because every religion, every spiritual belief. Hold on. This is so fucking annoying. I fucking hate those so goddamn much. And
I lost
there's no
my
way.
concentration.
Yep, nope, that's fine.
Can
It's
you
on
will
that.
continue,
That's because
please?
of that stupid song thing. I'm
Yes,
whatever.
don't worry, don't worry. It's okay,
Um,
all right.
but what I was saying is that if you want, the only way that I'm going to care about what people's stories or testimony are is if there is some kind of tool that I can use to determine who is properly interpreting their personal experiences and who's not. So you would need to tell me the way that I can determine, if I have five people standing in front of me and they've all got personal experiences that support different religious conclusions, how do I tell who's right and who's wrong?
I don't have quite an answer to that because it's based on your faith and what you believe and don't you believe. But
Sure. So that
for
sounds like
me,
there
what
isn't a way to do that, and that's what I would need. So if you don't have a way to do
I
that, then we
understand.
can't talk about these personal experience things, and we would have to talk about something else.
Yes, all right, I understand. What I always advise is like maybe try to seek it first, and you'll have evidence that it exists. Like it will happen some supernatural stuff you can't
Yeah, but that's what I'm
understand
doing right
and you
now.
can
That's what I'm
understand
doing
right
right
now.
now, Wendy. I'm looking for the
But you
evidence.
can't.
I'm asking people. I'm begging for people to give me the evidence.
This
If
kind
the
of
evidence
evidence.
exists, then people would be able to give it to me. So that's why I'm asking for it. It sounds like you don't
Um,
have any evidence, though. Do you have any
but
evidence that you can present right now?
can I just say something
I'm
and
just
I'll
asking you a
go
direct question.
forward?
Do you have any evidence that you can present right
This
now?
kind of evidence you can ask to humans. You have to ask for something supernatural above us. You can ask for humans because
Okay, but though
faith
that
is
thing
based
doesn't
on
exist,
evidence.
I would need to have a reason to think that thing exists before I would have a reason to think that I could get information from it. But it doesn't
You
sound like you
can't.
have any kinds of argument or evidence, so I'm just going to
Yes.
move on. I appreciate you doing your best, but yeah, doesn't seem like we were getting anywhere. Um, okay. Hey, what the heck? That's a wild one. Thanks, Casey. That's fucking crazy. Um, Okay, but yeah, if you're in the guest queue or thinking about joining, make sure that you are 18 plus and have some kind of argument or evidence that would provide rational justification to believe in God. I don't think there's anything more annoying than people in the chat begging to come up that aren't even requesting. Like it's annoying enough if you are in the request queue, but when you're not even requesting, wild. Hi BMB, how old are you?
I got down 16, but can I still talk?
No, of course not. That's why I'm always saying make sure that you are 18 plus and have some kind of argument or evidence for God because those things are important. Hi Alex, how old are you?
18.
Do you believe in a God?
Yes, I believe in Jesus Christ.
Okay. And what would you say is the best argument or evidence that would give us rational justification to believe in God?
If there's any possible way, I'd like to hear your standpoint first. If
Okay. So you just want like an argument against God?
not an argument against God, but I want to see why you wouldn't see there being a God.
Because there are good arguments against God. If you don't want to hear the argument against God, then I don't know what to tell you.
Oh, so no, I'm sorry, I misunderstood. Yes, let me hear the argument against God.
Okay. I mean, there's lots of them. Let me think here. Which direction should we go? So typically, just to make sure, because there's so many different Christian beliefs, I just want to make sure that I'm giving an argument that's relevant to your position. Would you agree that God is a perfect being?
Yes, he came down, lived a perfect life.
No, I don't mean just Jesus. I mean like God overall, like the Trinity. Is that the perfect being?
Yes, because God is Jesus and the Holy Spirit in one.
Right, and God is perfect, right?
Okay, yes.
Okay. So I'm just going to give you a series of premises, and then you let me know if you disagree with any of them, or do you want me to go one by one, or do you want me to just give you the whole thing?
We can start off one by one. Let's see where that goes.
So my first claim would be that entailing imperfections is an imperfection, right? So like if you bring about imperfections, then that's an imperfection in you, right?
Okay, but let's say that
it's just a yes or no whether or not you agree with that. Do you agree with that?
I would disagree with that.
Okay, so how is it possible for a perfect thing to bring about an imperfect thing?
Okay, that's like saying an engineer, right? They've never made a faulty car.
Nope, that's not what I'm asking. That's not what I'm asking. Because an engineer is a human, and humans are imperfect, right?
Okay, yes, but Jesus
okay,
Christ,
so that's talking about. Hold on, stop. Hold on, Alex.
Spirit.
Alex, you got to calm down, my guy. So I'm talking about a perfect thing and what it can make. You're saying that a perfect thing can make imperfections. And then to give an example, you started talking about a human, which you would agree is imperfect. So you need to give an explanation for how a perfect thing can create an imperfect thing. Oh, okay. I guess you could also just run away. That is also an option. All right. So if you are in the guest queue or thinking about joining, make sure that you're 18 plus and that you have some kind of argument or evidence that would provide rational justification to believe in a God. Okay. Hi, John. How old are you?
I'm 36.
Okay. Do you believe in a God?
I do.
Okay. And then, what would you? Excuse me. Which God do you believe in?
I just like to piggyback on his same conversation that y'all are having. My justification for what you asked.
No, that's not the question, John. What God do you believe in?
I believe in a creator.
Okay, if you can't give me a direct answer, then I'm just going to move on. What God do you believe in?
The God of the Bible.
Okay, I need a direct, unambiguous answer. There are multiple Bibles. I need to know what God you believe in, and this is the last time I'm asking.
There's only one God in the Bible.
All right, fair enough. If you don't want to give me a straight answer, no problem. You don't have to be here. If you're in the guest queue or thinking about joining, make sure that you're 18 plus and that you have some kind of argument or evidence that would provide rational justification to believe in a God. Hi, Preston. How old are you?
I'm 26.
Great. And which God do you believe in?
I believe in the God of the Holy Bible.
Just tell me. If you can't just tell me, I don't have any patience for this runaround. If you can, are you Christian? If you're Christian, just say you're Christian.
Yes, I am Christian.
Jesus Christ. No one is more embarrassed of Jesus than Christians, I swear to God. All right. So what would you say is the best argument or evidence that would provide rational justification to believe in a God?
Okay. Anywhere in space that we can find a planet that's like ours is almost indefinite proof that there's no life upon it. Our planet right now.
How many planets have we confirmed? How many?
No,
because you made a ridiculous claim that I know you can't support, and so everything after that claim that's going to be built on it is nonsense. It's not worth talking about. It's not worth you wasting your breath to get it out because we're going to have to start at this stupid thing that you said. How many planets have we
We're
gone to? How many
we are-
planet? How excuse me? How many planets like Earth have we gone to confirm they don't have life?
They don't have intelligent life.
How many planets like Earth have we gone to confirm that they don't have life or intelligent life?
0.
Oh, fantastic. So that means that your claim that we've gone to all these planets and confirmed they didn't have life, it was just nonsense, right?
Well, we the only one that.
So
we
that
the
was
only
just
one that,
bullshit, right?
Shoot off transmissions.
So that
It's
was
not
just bullshit, right, Preston? You claimed
only
that we
one
had
shoot off
you
transmissions.
Preston.
We the most intelligent. We're the
Preston,
most
you
intelligent.
Preston, you claimed that we had confirmed that on a whole bunch of different planets like Earth that there isn't life. Have we actually done that?
They're not intelligent.
Have we actually done that?
Well, it's proof nobody says.
How have we actually? Okay, so I'll ask one more time. If you refuse to answer, then everybody in the audience knows what that means. Have we done the thing that you claimed we've done?
No, we haven't.
Okay, fantastic. I appreciate it. So now that we confirmed that whole line of reasoning is bullshit, do you actually have any argument or evidence for God?
Yes, I do.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah, we are the perfect distance from the sun.
Well, that's
to
not true.
Freeze and to not
No,
burn up.
that's not true.
And we're the only one like
Preston,
it.
excuse me,
no
Preston.
chance. It's
Hello.
No chance that this
I don't know
is
if you
happening
maybe can't hear me,
again.
but you're doing the same thing. You're saying a thing that isn't true as a foundation for another argument, but because the place you're starting is a lie, the rest of it is nonsense, right? Like if you build a whole bunch of things on top of a lie, as soon as we expose the lie, the rest of it falls. So that's why I'm cutting you off right away, because you're starting with lies. So you did it the last time and you just did it again. We are not the perfect distance from the sun. We actually get closer to and further away. Like our distance from the sun changes by millions of miles over the course of each year. Millions of miles. So there isn't some tiny little zone. In fact, we could be more than 50% away, more than 50% farther away from the sun than we are now, and still be just fine. So it is not true, like the Goldilocks zone that you hear about, we could be about over 1.5 times as far away from the sun as we are right now and still be in the Goldilocks zone. So it is not true that there's some tiny little range that we just happen to fit in. That's wrong. Okay, so now that we know that that's bullshit, do you have anything that isn't bullshit?
Well, what's going on right now? We haven't found any other place that's like it. We haven't found it, and that all that means is that somebody created this spot. Somebody created
so
it.
Preston,
I'm sorry,
Preston,
somebody created it, and that's just God honest truth about it.
Preston, are you saying that because we haven't seen life on other planets or intelligent life on other planets, that means it doesn't exist?
No, I wouldn't.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say that.
Yeah, exactly.
Exist.
Yeah, because if you said that, we would say, well, I've never seen God, so therefore God doesn't exist, and you don't want to say that. So this whole business about we haven't seen life on other planets is also irrelevant. Preston, I'm noticing a pattern here. It seems like every time you try to give an argument for God, you just say some random stuff that maybe you heard somebody else say that you didn't confirm is actually true or relevant.
You keep moving the goalpost.
I'm not moving the goalpost. Nope. I have not moved the goalpost once. Okay, tell me how I did that.
Oh man, you didn't hear what you just said.
No, tell me how I moved the goalpost.
You didn't hear what you just said.
Tell me how I moved the goalpost.
Hey, look, listen. If we all thought like you,
so I'm going to ask you one more time, and if you refuse to answer, I'll ask Preston. Preston, I'll ask one more time, and if you refuse to answer, I'm going to assume that you know that was a lie you just said about me. So how did I move the goalpost?
I mean, you heard exactly what you just said.
Okay, so you know that was a lie, and that's why you won't answer. And now that you're just flat out lying about me, I'm going to move on. I think that we could all tell. Okay, so if you are in the guest queue or thinking about joining the guest queue, make sure that you are 18 plus and that you have some kind of argument or evidence that would provide rational justification to believe in God. See if Ray can connect here. Hey, thanks for watching for 500 minutes, Evan's sakes. For Evan's sakes. Snakes. I'm just going to call you Snakes. I can't help it. I'm going to try not to, but No, Ray's not connecting. Fair enough. All right, we'll move on to the next person.
Hello.
Hi, Kareem. How old are you?
31.
Do you believe in a God?
No. I just came up to ask you a question.
Okay, well, I'm just doing debates with people who believe in God. So we'll go ahead and move on to Kevin. Hi, Kevin. How old are you?
Oh, hi. I'm born 2004. I'm 22 years old, brother.
Okay, and do you believe in a God?
Yeah, I'm Christian there. I've been for a little bit there, but I came upon this and I thought to go on here too and just there's no chance to really give you 100% proof that God is real, but I know that speaking off of faith and how he's worked in my life. I don't know what you're struggling with and what your testimony is.
I'm not
but
struggling with anything, and testimony
Oh,
is completely irrelevant. All I'm interested in is whether there is any evidence or argument that would provide a reason to believe in God.
Okay, I think I've seen Noah's Ark or whatever being dug up there in
No,
I saw on the
no, you're
news,
talking
and
about in Turkey.
I think so.
Yeah,
And
that
also
was
in
done by this guy Ron Wyatt. Do you know what Ron Wyatt's profession is? What his expertise is?
no, I do not. No, I don't.
Yeah, he's a nurse. So he's
Oh.
just going around making shit up. This is the same guy
Oh.
who claims to have found the tracks of wagon wheels at the bottom of the Red Sea, when the Red Sea that's on the map today isn't even the same body of water that is referred to in the Moses story about the
Oh,
parting of the
yeah,
Red
yeah.
Sea.
Yeah.
So this guy just goes around making up bullshit. That mountain in Turkey that he claims to have found Noah's Ark on, well, geologists, people who actually know what they're talking about when it comes to mountains and geologic formations, they've gone and investigated and determined that there's no wood, there's no sign of human activity of any kind, there's no burning, there's nothing else. All there is just a naturally forming geologic rock formation. That's it.
Okay. Oh, fair enough then. I didn't know that. Thank you for sharing that. So another thing that I had then was there's a story in the Bible about a woman that turns her head back towards the city that is burning, right?
Sodom and
And
Gomorrah.
apparently-
Yeah. Do you know why
Yeah,
sulfur forms?
So what apparently is like DNA or something like that they found,
No.
or something to prove that there was life in the. No.
No.
I thought they did. I thought I researched that a little bit, but that's okay.
Okay. So let me double check on this, because I know that okay, so that's in the Dead Sea region, right?
Mhm.
But what happens is, let me see here. So microbes and geothermal processes make sulfur nodules. So there's little like balls of sulfur that form, and it's just as a result of natural processes.
Over years, eh?
Yeah, it's just something that
Okay.
happens. There's no reason for us to think that it's so. What's more likely is there's a story, or there's something that people can't explain, like why are there these sulfur deposits, or why are there these like salty things, whatever, like the columns and things, and they say, why is that there? And then people make up a story to explain it because they don't know how to explain it. It's the same reason why people made up the god Thor to explain lightning and thunder, because they didn't know the actual explanation.
So that's why there's a whole whack of other religions too. And this is where I say, though, the proof of God isn't real. So there's that, sure. But then there's also proof that the devil isn't real as well, because the devil is just as real as God, that he would.
No,
rather
neither are
love
real.
you.
Neither are real. They're both
Well, there's
fictional
good and
characters.
evil. Okay.
Yeah,
well,
there
then
are-
it's
there is-
just as every other religion, then I guess, like
Yes,
Muslims,
yes,
Judaism,
it's
and
all
that,
bullshit.
made it.
Correct.
So what do you believe in, brother? Where do you go when you die? What do you think?
That's going to be just like it was before I was born.
Black? Nothing?
No, not blackness.
think
I
you-
didn't experience blackness before I was born. I didn't experience anything because I didn't exist. So I won't be having an experience. There won't be blackness. There won't be anything. There won't be
So you
an
just-
experience.
So you don't think you're special enough, made perfect enough, that you have something beyond that God for what I believe in, right? For
No, of
Christianity,
course
that
not.
You could be on.
No, of course I
No,
don't
so-
believe in any of those fantasies.
You don't believe in anything.
I don't believe in fantasies.
Fantasies.
I don't
Well,
believe in
I don't
bedtime
know.
stories.
Well, it sucks, man. Because it really sucks. Because I go.
Well,
off
it
of
sucks.
faith,
It
right?
sucks to be an adult who goes around believing in bedtime stories.
Well, I don't. Well, okay. I don't believe in bedtime stories.
Well,
This is
that's
a
what you're
story
talking
that
about.
happened.
You're saying, "Oh, but what
listen,
if
I
I
don't
didn't
wanna
have a
argue with
soul in an
you.
afterlife? Then I'm not special like my mommy said I was." That's believing in bedtime
Right.
stories,
But
man.
see, this is not. Listen, okay. Can I say this? I'll say this real quick then. Even if I die, you die, whatever, and we go to heaven, or not, sorry, go to heaven. We meet Judgment Day. Okay, let's believe in this fantasy for a minute. Just hear me out. I'll hear you out. Okay. You get there, okay?
I don't care about any of
How
this, Kevin.
bad?
All I care about
How?
is whether there's a reason to believe in God right now. Is there a single reason why a rational person would believe in a God?
I would say because of love, man. Because I can help your
Why would
spirit.
love
Help
give us a
other
reason to
people.
believe in God?
Because Jesus died for everybody. That's the cross.
No,
that's the
that
basic
has nothing to
story
do
of
with this. Why
everything.
would love give us a reason to believe in God?
Why would love give us to believe in God? Well, I would say why love would give us a reason to believe in God is because the Bible teaches it. That's the only thing that teaches.
I don't care what
about
the Bible
love.
says. The only way what the Bible says would
Well,
matter is if you demonstrated to me that a God exists and that God was involved in the creation of the Bible. So you're multiple steps away from being able to talk about the Bible and have it matter. First, you need to demonstrate that there's a reason to believe God exists. So that's what you're supposed to be
the
doing.
earth, bro.
By
The
running to
earth.
by running to
Everything.
the Bible, what you're doing is making your argument circular. You're saying love,
Okay.
God exists because of love, and we know love proves God because of the Bible, and we know the Bible is true because of God. So you just made this big
Well,
circle
no.
where you're saying God
It's
exists because God said He did in the Bible.
there's a whole whack of people that wrote the story of the Bible.
Yeah, I know.
And
A
it's
bunch of
not
people wrote
there's
fictional stories. So what's the reason to believe in God? I'm
fictional.
This is the last time I'm asking.
Fair enough. I can't. Okay, the last time you're asking, I'll let you go to the next one here in a second.
All
I
right.
will just leave off with this then.
Well, no, I don't want to
Is
hear the preaching at the end there, Kevin. Okay, so yeah, if you are in the guest queue or thinking about joining, make sure that you're 18 plus and that you have some kind of argument or evidence that will provide rational justification to believe in a God. What somebody just said, the mirror is my proof. You're 100%. I look in the mirror, I see this face. No, there's no way a God exists and created this face. Not a chance. So certainly not a good God, that's for sure. If you're in the guest queue or thinking about joining, make sure you're an adult and you actually have some argument or evidence. Hi, Brutal. How old are you?
Yo, what's up, brother? I'm 21.
Do you believe in a God?
Yeah, I do.
Okay. And which version of God do you believe in?
All right, so Lionel Messi, he's the top goal scorer of the World Cup at the...
Okay. All right, Nixon 5. How old are you?
I'm 38.
Okay. Do you believe in a God?
Yes.
Okay. Which version of God do you believe in?
I'm Muslim.
Okay. And then what would you say is the best argument or evidence that would provide rational justification to believe in God?
Well, I heard you say that you were, if you die, nothing happens to you. But weren't you dead and you came alive?
What do you mean by dead?
You were gone. You weren't here. You weren't on this earth and you became alive. How did that happen?
Okay, so just not being on Earth means you're dead?
Yeah.
Okay,
You're not,
so
you're not on Earth.
when astronauts go up into space, they're dead? And then they come back to life when they come back to Earth?
Were they still here?
No, they left
Did they have
Earth.
a heart, brain?
No, they
Hold on.
left
Did they
Earth,
have
like the
heart?
people who've gone to the
Okay.
moon. They
When
left
they left
Earth.
Earth, did they have a?
Yep.
Okay. Did they have a heart, brain?
Well, no, you said that what it
ears,
means to
nose?
be dead is just to
Okay,
not
well,
be on
that's
Earth.
what I mean. You were gone. You weren't here at all on this earth, and you became alive. How did you become
Okay,
alive?
so you're saying that death just means not being on Earth, right? Not being on the surface of the Earth?
You didn't exist, period.
Yeah, oh, that's right. I didn't exist at all. That's true. And then after I
Yes,
die,
and
I
that-
will also not exist at all. That's true.
Okay, so how did you exist? That's what I'm asking.
Well, okay, so see, when a man loves a woman, he takes his penis and he puts it in
Why
her
are you
vagina.
pivoting? Why are you pivoting?
You asked how I came into existence from not existing, and it seems like you don't understand where babies come from, so I was going to give you the talk.
Okay, how about I make it easier for you? How did the first human cell exist?
I don't know what you mean by first human cell.
Yo.
Yeah, I don't know what you mean by first human cell.
Hello.
Hello.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Did you? Yeah, you hear me? How
Yep.
did the first human cell exist?
I don't know what you mean by first human cell.
How did the first cell exist on Earth?
Well, chemistry.
Chemistry.
Yeah.
Interesting. How did chemistry begin? Who started chemistry?
Oh, I don't know that chemistry ever did begin. I don't have any
You don't
reason
know
to
if
think
chemistry.
Yeah, I don't have a reason to think the chemistry had a beginning.
Okay, so tell me, how did it begin? How did it start?
That's asking for a beginning. I just said I don't have a reason to think it has a beginning. Why would I
Oh, so
give
you
you?
don't
Why would
know.
I give you an explanation of a beginning for something I don't think had a beginning?
So you don't know.
I didn't say I don't know. You're asking for the explanation for a beginning for something I don't think had a beginning.
Okay, so how did the chemistry start then?
It didn't start.
It didn't start, so it was always here.
Chemistry,
Chemistry was always here.
as far as I know, there was never a state of existence where chemistry didn't exist.
Okay. So your DNA that contains information, correct?
Depends on your definition of information, but sure.
You don't even know what information means.
I
Do
think
I have
that
to
word can.
explain everything? Do I have to define everything?
I think that word can mean a lot of different things, but I'm willing to just grant that DNA has information because you probably are using it in a way that's not super objectionable, and it probably doesn't matter anyway because you're going to say something stupid anyway.
What? Okay, I'm gonna say something stupid.
Yes.
So if something contains information,
Mm-hmm.
like a book
Mm-hmm.
or a manual,
Mm-hmm.
right? Something made that information, correct?
Right. No, not
Okay.
necessarily. No.
You just said correct.
No, I didn't. I was like going along with. I was listening to what you were saying. I was doing active listening. But
Okay,
no, as far
active
as I know, there is no reason to think that every example of information was created, and I don't think that you think every example of information was created either. So let me ask you a question: is there information in my brain,
Yes.
in my mind?
Yes.
And knowledge is information, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and God has knowledge, right?
Right.
Yeah, absolutely. So that means that God has information in his mind, but that must mean, by your logic, that God's mind was created, right?
No.
Oh, so what you're saying is that something can exist that has information without being created.
Yeah, because I
Yeah,
can tell
okay,
you
so
where that
100%. So
information
it doesn't
come from.
right. So
Wait,
so
I can tell
because
you-
because information can exist in something that wasn't created, we have no reason to think that because DNA has information, it must have been
It
created.
had to have a starting point.
No, did God have a starting point?
No, he didn't. He's
Oh,
never- he-
fantastic. So
he
just
was
because
always there.
something has information in it doesn't mean it has to have a creator or a starting point. So
Okay,
none of
so-
this works.
So you're
I told
telling
you
me
you were going to say
that
something
has-
stupid.
So you hold on. So something that has information comes from nothing.
How did God come into existence?
You can't say that because I could tell you who made that God and who made
How
that
did God come
and
into
who made that
existence?
God. There has to be an endpoint.
You're saying that if something has information, then it must have been created. Well, but you also agreed that God's... Okay, so here's what we're going to do. We're just going to actually put it up on the screen so that we can all follow along. I know that at your level, I'm sure that having it up on the whiteboard helps a lot. So your claim is that everything that has information must have a creator. God's mind has information. So conclusion,
How do you know-
God's mind
First of all, hold on,
must
hold on, hold on.
have a creator.
Who said God has
so
a
now
mind?
so now what you have to
Who said God has a mind?
you did. So
I
now
never said God has a mind.
yes you did. So now
No, I didn't.
yep, yes you did. So now
No, God is different and separate from this creation, my man.
nope, you agreed. So now what you
No,
have to
no,
do is
no,
reject a
no, I
premise
don't
here.
agree.
So now you can
put
reject a
words in my
premise
mouth.
or I'm just going to move on to the next person. Which
You're
premise do you
putting words
reject?
in my mouth.
So I'm asking which premise you reject, otherwise I'm going to
I
move
just
on.
told God is different and separate from this creation.
All right, I'm going to give you one last
You're saying he
opportunity.
has
I'm
a
going to
mind.
ask
I
again
never said he has a mind.
which premise you reject, and if you don't answer, then everybody knows that that's because you realize you've lost.
No,
Which premise
because-
do you
no,
reject?
I didn't agree with that. Why am I going to agree with something?
All
you
right,
say
thank you
now?
for letting
I'm saying
everybody
it.
know that you know you're wrong. He did, in fact, agree that God had a mind. I asked those questions very specifically because I knew the point that I was going to. I knew what I was getting at, so I asked the right questions to get him to commit to what I wanted him to commit to, and he committed to it. That's the only reason I continued. You guys act like you think I don't know what I'm doing. Oh, good times. Now, I'm not going to say that I'm great at this. I'm also not going to say that I'm very smart. But I, at very least, know what's enough about what I'm doing to know how to, handle that kind of situation. Thank you so much for the support, KC. I sincerely, sincerely appreciate it. Thank you to Dr. Cody J. There's someone with, I don't know who this, ouch. Chouch, thank you for the support. Poopman Jones, Lupine, Saintly, Maddie. Hey, good to see you, Maddie. Haven't seen you in a bit. Oof, burping like crazy. Saint Brianna, Alan Gibson, Casey, what is this? Reverend Joseph? Okay, fair enough. Thank you. Yeah, thank you so much, everybody. I do sincerely appreciate the support. Thank you, Bob, as well. You guys are fucking awesome. Rick and Morty. I don't know, man. Like, there's some good Rick and Morty, but like, I just wish it had more of a direction, I guess. I don't know. Not a huge fan. It's not terrible, but do a show with my dad? No. No, I'm not going to do a show with my dad. Hey! I ain't nothing but a hound. Okay, all right, it's gone. All right, so if you are in the guest queue or thinking about joining, make sure that you're 18 plus and that you have some kind of argument or evidence that would provide rational justification to believe in God. Yeah, W snakes. Also, thank you, Drew, for the whatever that is. Clap, clap. Appreciate it. Okay. Hey, Obza, how old are you?
I'm finding you, brother.
I'm sorry, what?
I say, I'm finding you, my brother.
How old are you?
Oh, I'm 45.
Okay, thank you. Do you believe in a God?
Yes, we are real.
Okay. And which version of God do you believe in?
Me and you.
Well, I'm not a God, and I don't think that you're a God. So
we are gods.
Well,
we are gods.
Well, I certainly don't agree, and it doesn't sound like we're talking about the same thing. So I'll just go ahead and move on. I wish you the best. If you're in the guest queue or thinking about joining, make sure that you're 18 plus and have some kind of argument or evidence that would provide rational justification to believe in a God. Hi, Adam. How old are you?
41.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
You hear me?
I can now, yep. How old are you?
41.
Oh, okay. And what God do you believe in?
In God. In general.
Yeah, what version? Like, do you just believe in like a generic, like mind that created the universe? Okay, it seems like you're getting quieter and louder. I think you said yes, though. And I can't hear you if you're off the app. Okay, you said you just believe in like a generic God, like a mind that created the universe?
Exact.
Okay, fantastic. What would you say is the best argument or evidence that would give us rational justification to believe in a God? And again, I can't hear you if you're off the app.
Yeah, I have a question. Like, why do we need an evidence to believe in God?
I mean, you can believe in whatever you want for whatever reason or lack of reason you want.
Yeah, but the evidence is for the scientific reasoning. I can have an evidence for something which is scientific, chemistry, math.
Yeah, there's evidence
Why
for
should-
lots of things, scientific and or not scientific. This is totally irrelevant, and I'm not really looking to go down this like what is evidence or when do we use evidence or when do we not use evidence. I'm just interested in discussing whether or not there is a reason to believe in God. Do you know of any reason to believe in God?
Yeah, I know a reason.
Okay, what's the
There
reason
is
to
a-
believe that a God exists?
I have a specialty in math, like I'm doing math, and in math there is like a theory, and in that theory there is like a sub theory that says that God exists. So if you want to believe in God, you have to make like a PhD in that math.
Oh, really?
And then yeah,
Okay, well, I don't have a PhD in math. Is there anything that my lowly, stupid brain can understand?
yeah, that's why I'm asking you about evidence, because
Okay,
if
well, I'm just asking
you-
if there's any reason that you can communicate to me that would compel me to believe in God.
no, for you, if you
Oh,
want
okay,
to believe
fair
in
enough.
God,
Well, hey, I'm
you-
too
you-
dumb, so I'll accept that. No problem. All right. Yeah, like I said, make sure that if you're in the guest queue that you are 18 plus and have some kind of argument or evidence to believe in God. Hi,
Hello?
user 160844409. Are you at least 18?
Yep.
And do you believe in a God?
Yep.
Okay, which version of God do you believe in?
Muslim.
Fantastic. Thanks for just being honest and answering the questions. What would you say is the best argument or evidence that would provide justification to believe in God?
I think the best evidence is the existence of consciousness.
Okay, and why would we not expect consciousness to exist? I need you to do something about that. Can you stop that somehow?
Yeah.
Okay, and how would consciousness? Why should we think that consciousness would not exist if God didn't exist?
Well, because if give me a second. So like consciousness, there's no way that you can, well, not no way, but philosophers have a problem explaining how consciousness emerged from
No.
a third person.
No, that's not true. Now, there are philosophers who believe that there's a problem with that, but that's not all philosophers. Like, for example, you could take the philosophical view that I take of mind, which is the token identity theory, and you could just say that brain states are mental states and brain states are identical to each other. Like, there is a brain state that corresponds identically to every given mental state. So there is no need for there is no explanation needed for how, because there's no emergence to explain.
But then how do you explain how you get subjective experience?
Yeah, that's what I just explained to you.
No, you're just saying that the experience isn't subjective.
No, I didn't say that it's not subjective. I said that all mental states, including phenomenological experience, are identical to brain states. So how do you get them? You get them from brain states. You get them from neural structures.
Okay, but are the neural structures, are they subjective?
They exist objectively, just like your subjective experience exists objectively. They're just experienced subjectively.
Do the neural what did you say? The neural I forgot what you just said, but do they have subjective experience?
Yes.
They do?
Yeah. That's what subjective experience is.
The individual neurons in your head have subjective experience?
Oh, the individual neurons? No, it's a structure that creates the complex structure is what creates the complexity of the experience.
Okay, but then that means that you're saying that consciousness is emergent.
Nope. Well, I mean, it depends on how you're using the word emergent.
Do you think that subjective experience is emergent, like a certain alignment or a certain like pattern of neurons aligned in a certain way is gonna somehow make subjective experience?
Well, it depends on how you're using the word emergent. Typically, I would use the word emergent to mean something like, a property of a structure that cannot be explained or cannot be fully explained by describing the functions of the lower level structure. And I'm saying that I don't agree that that is the case with mental experience. I'm saying, as far as I can tell, that all mental experience, all mental states, all phenomenological experience is directly reducible to brain states. So if you're using the word emergent to say that this is like an extra thing on top of brain structures that can't be explained by the brain structures themselves, then no. If you're using emergence in a much weaker sense, where you're saying that, it is reducible, then sure, we could say it emerges in that sense. But I don't think that that's a meaningful use of the word emergent. And so I would refrain from calling that emergent and say that it's reducible. So again, it just depends on what you mean by emergent.
I'm using it in the sense that you can get subjective experience from objective.
No, just define the word emergent.
Yeah, well, emergent is when you, well, let me put it in more precise terms. Emergent is getting something that is not part of, okay, is getting a property from things that don't have that property.
Okay. So you are using it in like the weak sense, where you're saying it's still like a thing that's reducible to the underlying structure, but the things themselves don't have that property. Okay, so you're saying it's not reducible to the underlying. Okay, so
yeah, not reducible.
It's getting a non-reducible property from things that don't have that property, right?
Yeah.
Okay, yes, I deny that.
Okay, but then do the neurons, do they have subjective experience as a property?
Like I said, I don't think, again, the crux here of our disagreement is non-reducible. So if you're saying that emergence is necessarily non-reducible, which is also the way that I would use it, then I would say no, it isn't emergent. And just because individual neurons don't have subjective experience doesn't mean that there couldn't be a reducible subjective experience produced by a structure of neurons.
Okay, but then like that doesn't really make sense because it's something that's completely fundamentally different. Subjective experience is nothing like.
That's your claim. Demonstrate that that's true. Demonstrate that it couldn't be a reducible property of neural structures.
Okay, well, let me take a different route.
Okay, so you're abandoning that argument?
Well, same argument, but a different route. Yeah, so isn't our experience of things, our subjective experience, is ontologically prior to the information that we have about the external world, right?
Say that again.
That our experience that we have, our subjective experience, is ontologically prior to the information we have about the external world.
No, because those are the same thing. That's like saying one is ontologically prior to one. That doesn't make any sense. Because they're the same thing. Our experience, our subjective experiences are the information that we have about the external world. So it can't be ontologically prior to itself.
Okay, well, don't we only know the external world through our subjective experience?
Yes.
Okay, so our subjective experience comes first, and then after that, through that we know the information about the external world.
No, the information about the external world is the experience. Now so we only have experiences by having experiences. Like, yes, that's true. And so we only get information about the external world by getting information about the external world. Like, yes, that's true. Like, but that doesn't. What you're saying is, what you're trying to do is you're trying to like take two equivalent things and try to pretend that they're not the same and say that one is prior to the other. But I disagree with that. Our subjective experiences of the external world are the information of the external world.
No, but we only get the information of the external world through experience, right?
No, that is the experience. They're the same thing.
I think we're saying the same thing.
No, we're not, because you're trying to pretend that they're two different things and one is ontologically prior to the other. I'm saying that they aren't two different things, so neither can be ontologically prior to the other.
Okay, so do you think like if I have a brick in front of me, that brick is the same thing as my experience of the brick?
No, but your experience of the brick is the same thing as your information about the brick.
Okay, no problem. But I'm saying that the only way that I know the brick exists or I know anything about the brick is because of my experience.
Yep.
It's through experience.
I agree.
That's all I'm trying to say.
Okay, I agree with that. I didn't agree with the other stuff about ontological priority.
Okay, maybe that's the wrong word to use. I'm not like a philosopher or anything.
Yeah, I'm not either.
Yeah, so if we know that everything we know about the external world is experiential, subjective experiential, okay, then isn't it a larger leap to make that it's a larger leap to say that the experience is something that's non-experiential than to say that these things that look non-experiential to us are experiential?
I have no idea what you're saying.
Okay, I'm gonna read you the premise. I have this. It's not from me. It's from another creator, but he put it in like a nice premise thing, so I can give it to you. The argument is that experience exists. That's P1.
Experience
P2,
exists?
Yeah. P2 is a satisfactory metaphysical theory must account for the existence of experience without denying the phenomenon.
Hold on. A satisfactory metaphysical theory must account for what?
Account for the existence of experience.
Okay.
Without denying the phenomenon to be explained.
Without denying the phenomenon to be explained. Okay.
Okay. And then P3 is if a theory requires an unexplained ontological transition.
An unexplained ontological transition from what?
From the wholly non-experiential to the experiential.
Wholly non-experiential to the experiential.
Then other things being equal. Its explanatory power, it is explanatorily inferior to a theory that does not.
Okay, this is like to a theory. If a theory requires that does not. Okay, that.
And then P4 is no existing, fundamentally non-experiential. I'm sorry, dude. But
this is. I just want you to know, like, this is a really, 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 really bad argument. But anyway, so what's the rest of P4? No existing, fundamentally non-experiential.
Ontology accounts for experience.
Accounts for experience.
Without either denying the phenomenon.
Either denying the phenomenon.
Or leaving that ontological transition unexplained.
Ontological transition unexplained, okay.
And the conclusion is therefore no fundamentally non-experiential ontology is presently the best explanation of experience.
Experience. Okay, so what is a fundamentally experiential ontology? Define that.
Which part are you talking about?
Define a fundamentally experiential ontology.
Fundamentally, that's like idealism. Like experience is fundamental.
Okay. So we got experience exists. What is this being stupid? Okay. Experience exists. A satisfactory metaphysical theory must account for the existence of experience without denying the phenomenon to be explained. If a theory requires an unexplained, must satisfactory, is the present best explanation. I don't know. This is a really, really messy argument. What I would recommend is whoever wrote this needs to like cut it down to like just the concept so that it actually follow. Like, can you give me the inference rule? That's what I would really need. I need the inference rule.
The inference is modus ponens. I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right. I'm just reading off of this.
Modus ponens?
Modus ponens, yeah.
Okay, modus ponens only has 2 premises. This has 4. So what's the inference rule?
That's what it says. It says modus ponens, but I don't
Okay,
know
well, whoever gave this to you set you up. Like, maybe you got this from a troll who just gave it to you so that you could go out and make yourself look dumb. But like, this,
no. But
this is not. This is not modus ponens.
Okay, well, the argument, like, if just like to,
yeah, so I just need you to give me
down.
the inference rule so I can make sure it's valid, because this is so jumbled and jargon laden that it's really hard to tell if this actually even follows. So what I need you to do is to present the inference rule so I can make sure that it's even a valid argument before we get into the nitty gritty. Because if it's not valid, then it doesn't matter. Nothing else about it matters.
Okay, well, like you can't engage with the argument without the inference rule.
Correct. I can't engage with the argument without making sure that it's valid first. It's
Well,
it's
can't you
point.
just
It's
see
a
if the
waste of
premises
time.
follow?
Well, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm asking for the inference rule to make sure that the conclusion follows from the premises. That's the point of an inference rule. So what is the inference rule so I can make sure that the conclusion follows from the premises? Because right now I'm not seeing it.
And why can't it be modus ponens? I'm not even sure what that is, but why can't it be that?
Yeah, because modus ponens is if P then Q, P therefore Q. So there are 2 premises, a major premise, a minor premise, and then a conclusion. This has 4 premises. It cannot be modus ponens.
Okay, well, then you could just use the last 2.
If a theory requires an unexplained ontological transition from the wholly non-experiential to the experiential, then other things being equal, it is explanatory inferior. No existing... Yep, that's not modus ponens. 3 and 4 into the conclusion is not modus ponens. Because again, modus ponens would be if P, then Q, P, therefore Q. Those premises do not take that form. Unless you can tell me what P and Q are. So what's P in premise 3? Well, assuming that would be a theory requires an unexplained ontological transition from the wholly non-experiential to the experiential. So that's P. And then Q is that other things being equal, it's explanatorily inferior to a theory that does not. And then premise 4 would have to be P. So it would have to be, premise 4 would have to say a theory requires an unexplained ontological transition from the wholly non-experiential to the experiential. But it doesn't say that. So no, it doesn't say that. It says, so really what this is trying to be is, maybe it's trying to be modus tollens, but again, like, it just doesn't follow that inference rule. If a theory requires if that, then that, no existing, so this is denying, TikTok being stupid. Okay, so what this is actually doing, what is happening? So this argument actually is doing what's called, well, no, it's not even doing that. I was going to say it's denying the antecedent, but it's not even doing that. No existent fundamentally experiential ontology accounts for. So if a theory requires an unexplained, no, this is just really confusingly worded, to be honest with you. But at the end of the day, like, I think that this is just assuming, like, you're just assuming that nothing can do that. So what you would need to do is show the problem with every theory of, basically you'd have to show the problem with every theory of mind. So list out the theories of mind and then tell me the problem with each of them.
You can change the last premise to instead of saying no theory, you just change like every existing fundamentally non-experiential theory either denies experience or leaves the ontological transition unexplained.
I'm sorry, what is it?
Okay, let me write it down. I'll give it to you. Because modus ponens, you said it has to, like, I have to put like a
if P then Q, P therefore Q.
Okay, all right. So write the last one as every existing fundamentally non-experiential ontology either denies experience or leaves the ontological transition unexplained.
Denies experience or leaves the ontological transition unexplained, and then the conclusion would have to be what every, so it'd be every fundamentally non-experiential ontology is presently is explanatorily inferior to what fundamentally experiential, or what we'll just say to idealism. Okay, so so support premise 4 then, that last premise. Every existing fundamentally non-experiential ontology either denies experience or leaves the ontological transition unexplained.
Yeah, so physicalism, you have to
list out all the theories of mind.
All right, so we have physicalism.
No, that's not a theory of mind.
How's that not a theory of mind?
And that'd be a category.
Hold on, bro. From what I know, physicalism is a theory of mind.
I mean, there are physicalist theories. So like physicalism isn't a theory of mind. It might be a category of theories of mind. So are you just gonna like try to attack the entire category?
Yeah.
Okay. What are the rest?
Yeah, so okay, we're gonna do physicalism, dualism, idealism, and panpsychism.
Physicalism, dualism. Well, you're not refuting idealism because that's what you're arguing for.
Yeah.
Okay, so what's the problem with panpsychism?
Panpsychism has a problem of like how you can be an individual, like how are you gonna be an individual, and how can like you're gonna be separate from the world if everything, if like it's just a it's if the atoms, if every atom is conscious, how do they combine to make one like conscious person?
Okay, that's just a question that you don't understand. What you have to do is show, you have to show that it either well, hold on. If a theory requires an unexplained ontological transition from the wholly non-experiential, so actually, all you should be doing here is showing that it requires an unexplained ontological transition from the wholly non-experiential to the experiential. So how does panpsychism require, or how does panpsychism fail to explain the ontological transition from the non-experiential to the experiential?
Well, then I probably need a different argument for panpsychism, but we can do that if like you want to go down panpsychism.
No, you said that these last two premises and the conclusion are a good argument for idealism. So how does panpsychism fail in the way that your premise says that it does? Because your premise says the problem here is when a theory requires an unexplained ontological transition from the wholly non-experiential to the experiential. So panpsychism must require an unexplained ontological transition from the wholly non-experiential to the experiential. So you need to explain how panpsychism fails to explain that transition.
But P4 is talking about non-experiential ontology.
I don't care. That's not in premise 3. That's not in premise 3, so it shouldn't be talking about that. So premise 4 should only be every existing every existing fundamentally non-experiential ontology leaves the ontological transition unexplained.
Panpsychism is experiential.
Okay, so then why did you list panpsychism?
Okay, then yeah, so no panpsychism.
Okay, so this isn't actually an argument for idealism.
This is an argument for, we can do that next. That's the next step where we can do what is the best of the experiential ontologies. Okay, right now we're just trying to do is non-experiential versus experiential.
Okay, and so now you lied to me earlier, so you need to redefine a fundamentally experiential ontology.
That's just an ontology where experience is fundamental.
And what do you mean by experience is fundamental?
You know how like right now people say things are made of atoms and like matter is fundamental, or like physical processes are fundamental?
No, experience. I need the experience part, not the fundamental part.
Experience. Oh, experience.
What does it mean for? I don't need you to explain what it means to be fundamental. I need you to explain what it means for experience to be fundamental.
Yeah, that means that everything is, if you strip it down to the basic, like the basic building blocks, is all made out of experience.
Okay, demonstrate that rocks are made out of experience.
Yeah. So what we would do by that, we're not saying that I can look at a rock and then know what it's thinking. We're saying that
no, you just need to demonstrate that it is fundamentally made out of experience. Demonstrate that a rock is fundamentally made out of experience.
No, but that's not the argument, though.
Yes, it is the argument. You're saying that everything. Do rocks exist?
Yeah, rocks exist.
Oh, fantastic! And so what you're saying is that the fundamental, the fundamental reality, the fundamental ontology is all experience. So if experience is the thing that's fundamental to ontology, that means everything that has ontology is fundamentally made out of experience. And since rocks have ontology, that means that they're fundamentally made out of experience. So you need to demonstrate how rocks are fundamentally made out of experience. How can we confirm that?
Yeah, so under idealism, we would say that everything.
No, not what you would say. I don't want to know what you would say. I want to know the demonstration that rocks are fundamentally made out of experience.
Oh, if you're saying like if I can't do that, then my argument falls apart. That's not how it works.
Yes, it does, because what you're saying is that this is your view of the world. You have shown that this is the way the world works. I need you to demonstrate to me what it means for rocks to be made out of experience and how you can confirm that's the case.
You can't confirm that because you can't even confirm I have experience. That's not how it works. The argument is the hard problem of consciousness.
No,
that's the argument.
No, because what you're saying is that this is the way the world is. You're saying that this is our ontology. So explain the ontology to me. Explain how we can confirm that this is what the world is made out of. That the world is made out of experience.
Yes, we go through.
So rocks. So everything that exists is made out of experience. So demonstrate to me that rocks are made out of experience. Otherwise, I have no reason to think that they're made out of experience.
You do. I just gave the argument why.
No, you don't. No, because at the very best, all you can do is say that there's a question that hasn't been answered yet. If you are
I'll-
if you are proposing an answer to the question, then give me the answer to the question. If this is only saying that there isn't an answer to the question, fine. Then I can grant you that we don't have an answer to the hard problem of consciousness. I don't think that's true, but I don't really care to like defend like a identity theory right now. But so let's just say I grant that the hard problem of consciousness is unsolved. Cool. Now it's unsolved. So now what you need to do is, let's say that I grant that. So now get me from the hard problem of consciousness is unsolved to idealism. Show me that that reality, that all things with ontology are fundamentally made out of experience. Demonstrate that to me.
Yeah, so the way we would go from the hard problem of consciousness to idealism.
No, what you need to do is demonstrate to me that reality is fundamentally made, or all things with ontology are fundamentally made out of experience. That's your burden right now.
You just asked me to. You said that my burden is to show you how to get from the hard problem of consciousness to idealism.
No, you need to demonstrate that it is true that all things with ontology are made out of experience. That is your claim. That's what you need to demonstrate.
Yes. So the way we're going to do that is by looking at the current theories. The theories.
No. We're not doing a theory
what?
comparison. We're not doing a theory comparison. We're demonstrating what is true.
Brother, that's called inference to the best explanation. That's how.
No, because you don't know that you've considered every possible explanation.
Well, we're considering the ones that are.
I don't care.
Available
I
now.
don't care. I will just say I don't know then. Unless you can confirm that one of the theories on offer is true, then I'll just stick with I don't know and I won't hold to a theory. So you need to demonstrate that the theory you want to convince me of is actually true. Not just saying, well, if we look at these few of them, this one seems to be the best. No, that is not how we determine what's true. We're not doing this abductive bullshit when we don't know for sure that we've considered every possible answer. So what you need to do, if we want me to accept an answer, is to give me a demonstration that that answer is correct. Otherwise, the best answer we could possibly come to, the best answer your argument could possibly argue for, is we don't know.
So if idealism, that's not true. The best outcome is that idealism is the best of what we know so far. And if idealism was the best of what we know so far, you wouldn't accept it?
No, of course not. No, because that's, again, all you're saying is we don't know, and so I like this answer best.
Works.
No, that's not how science works. That's not how science works at all. You clearly don't know anything about science.
So science isn't.
So what's the falsifiability criteria? What's the falsifiability criteria for idealism?
Okay, the falsifiability criteria is if it doesn't have explanatory power. You find an explanatory gap.
No, an explanatory gap isn't. No. What I'm saying is, what would be an experiential or experimental result that would falsify idealism? A falsification criteria is going to be, we find this specific thing in the world, or we don't find this specific thing in the world. Like, what is the specific thing that you can look for in the world that would confirm or deny the truth of idealism?
Well, but I'm not getting what's the falsifiability?
That's what falsifiability is. Falsifiability, or a falsifiability criteria rather, is saying this is the thing that if we find it in the world or if we don't find it in the world would falsify this theory or this hypothesis. So what is the thing that we either find or don't find in the world that would disconfirm idealism, that would show that idealism is false? If you don't have a falsification criteria, then you cannot pretend that this is in any way scientific.
Yeah, like if you can prove that you can.
What is the thing that we would find in the world if it was false, or what is the thing that we would not find in the world if it was false?
Okay, now I'm getting what you're saying. Okay. Yeah. So if idealism was false, we wouldn't have experience, and if you do have experience.
Okay, but that every other theory expects experience. So you would need to give a thing that other theories don't expect. It needs to be a thing that is either expected on idealism and unexpected on every other theory, or unexpected on idealism and expected on every other theory. That's the differentiating factor that would be your falsifiability criteria.
Brother, I'm telling you that the reason why it's idealism because it's the most parsimonious. Like gravity, what would you do to
parsimony is not the only theoretical virtue. Parsimony is not the only thing. So what I'm saying now, what I'm trying to get you to do, what I'm trying to get you to do,
help me out real quick.
How would you
falsify gravity?
Yeah, absolutely. You would do something like holding this up and letting it go and it not falling.
Okay.
Yep, that would falsify gravity. That is falsification
all right.
criteria. We expect, based on gravity, we expect that if I hold this up and I let it go, we expect it to fall. We don't expect it to float in the air. So every time I drop this, that is not only a lack of falsification of gravity, it's in fact evidence for gravity, because it's what's expected under the hypothesis, and it not falling would be unexpected under the hypothesis. That's why it's evidence for gravity and why it's a falsification criteria. So what is the falsification criteria for idealism?
Yeah, well, like I said, it's not. It's just inference to the best explanation.
Yeah, so you're just trying to
Yeah,
do this
so-
abductive thing where you can't even confirm that you've considered every potential candidate explanation. So the best that your argument can ever actually get to from a rational perspective, if you don't want to just assume that idealism is true and you actually want to be reasonable about it, the best your argument can ever get to is I don't know.
It's not I don't know. It's the best. Like, you compare what you know. You don't know what you don't know. Okay, you compare what you know, and you know that's the best of what you know.
I don't care what is the best. I care what's true. I just saw that you were requesting, CT. Do you have something to add to this? Because clearly I'm not getting through to this guy.
This is just tag, but instead of it being knowledge and logic, it's experience.
I guess.
And premise 2 is satisfied by, once again, the cogito. So premise 2, remind me, but I believe it was something along the lines of
A satisfactory metaphysical theory must account for the existence of experience without denying the phenomenon to be explained.
Yes, so the cogito ergo sum, I think, therefore I am. The whole, like, when you look at it and break the whole statement down, it goes, I am I am doing the action of thought. But in order for me to do the action of thought, there needs to be an experience for me to think on. So I am thinking on that experience, and I am existing while I'm thinking on that experience. That is enough to explain the experience itself, because that's what the thought is. It is the contemplation and understanding of that experience. And it is explaining, like, you don't need to explain necessarily why I am having experience. You need to have an explanation that you have experience.
Yeah, I agree.
And that's what the thought of the cogito is. I am thinking on that experience. That is explaining the experience itself. So you don't need, it doesn't get us to God. It doesn't require necessarily at this point in the conversation God itself. Like, that's why I'm saying is, like, this is just tag by another.
I agree with everything you just said.
Okay, so this doesn't get us to idealism. It doesn't get us to God. It doesn't get us anywhere.
It does. It does.
No. User, that is what I'm saying. So if you agreeing with me is telling me one of two things. I am suspecting it's the first one, because you said you got it from someone else, which is that you don't understand the very argument you're making.
I do.
No. If you did, you would recognize what I'm saying and try to push back against it, because it's destroying your argument.
It's not.
So then Ogar is not required to accept God as an explanation for experience or any other idealism or anything else for experience, because the cogito exists in all of these explanations, and that's all he needs, and it satisfies premise 2.
Yes. If you the premise 2 is a satisfactory metaphysical theory must account for the existence of experience without denying the phenomenon to be explained.
Yeah.
There's no problem with
user.
that.
Yeah, user, hold on.
What metaphysical theory are you operating under?
It doesn't matter. His whole point is that every metaphysical theory, every theory of mind, is going to include and incorporate the cogito, and if that's the case, then all of them satisfactorily account for the existence of experience without denying it.
And it doesn't get us or necessitate God in and of himself. Now here's that's why I was saying you don't understand the very argument that you're making.
So you said, I think, therefore I am. You said the act of thinking is experience.
Do you know who Descartes is?
I've heard of him. I don't know, not.
So that is why I'm saying you don't understand. That is why I am saying you don't understand the very argument that you're making. This is something. let me ask you this, and this isn't me trying to embarrass you or anything, I promise. How long have you studied and seriously engaged in apologetics and philosophy?
I don't think that's not relevant. Like if you
No,
want
no, no.
to attack
I promise it is. This is not to embarrass you. Like I promise. Like how long?
Hey, I mean,
have
let's
you
be honest
studied-
here. I've only been studying philosophy for what, maybe 7 months? We can be
No,
honest
but
about
if
our
you-
lack of experience.
Yeah, if you can tell me the relevance, then I can tell you my experience.
So
How does this-
the
how does this have anything to do with the argument?
The relevance is because what I'm pointing out is your lack of understanding of the argument, and the lack of understanding is based
Okay,
on
then
lack
explain
of
how
experience.
I'm misunderstanding the argument.
He already did.
Yeah.
No, he didn't.
You didn't even understand the explanation.
No, he didn't explain. He said that
So-
he agrees with premise 2. That's
No.
that's
I said no. I said the cogito.
Yeah, but it's so hilarious,
Satisfy.
brother.
I said the cogito satisfies premise 2, which debunks everything else that you said afterwards.
Can you explain the cogito again?
All right, you know what? Here's the thing, user. We're not really doing like baby's first philosophy class here. So I mean, if you don't know who Descartes is, you don't know what the cogito is, you don't know you don't know how abductive reasoning is, you don't know the shortcomings or the pitfalls or the limitations of abductive reasoning. Like you don't even understand like your own argument. You don't know
I don't understand my own argument.
You don't understand the objections that I'm
Well-
giving you. You don't understand the limitations of the type of reasoning you're using.
Yeah, so I mean, if you want to have like a in-depth philosophical discussion, I guess that I might be unprepared for that, but that doesn't mean that I can't defend my beliefs. Like that.
Well,
like,
no,
I'm not able to do it. It's not under your framework.
So here's the thing. So you came up saying, "Hey, I am willing to defend my position through this framework." You're the one that set the framework.
Yeah, you
Yes,
chose the
I did.
framework, and you're saying this is the framework that I chose is a framework under which I'm not able to defend my beliefs.
No. The framework that I chose was premise 1, premise 2, premise 3, and
Which
Yeah,
is
and that's
it's a
That's my
philosophical.
that's what we're
framework.
doing. That's what we're
Yeah, no,
doing.
but-
We're responding
no.
to that user. We're responding to that. The premises and the argument that you gave. That's what's being responded to. And then your response to us engaging with the argument you gave was, "I can't defend myself in this framework." You were the
I was
one who gave the
responding to when
framework.
you said that I don't know who Descartes is. I don't know what the cogito is. That's why. Therefore, I can't argue this. It doesn't make any sense.
Because those are relevant to this whole thing. Descartes is one of the most influential philosophers of mind.
No problem. I did not bring him up.
But
Yeah, but
that's the thing is, if you don't know what he talked about in philosophy of mind and how
I didn't bring him up.
what-
You're the one who brought him up. So if
Right,
you
no,
wanna
the
use
point,
him,
user,
you can
the point
clarify.
isn't who brought him up. The point is that if you don't know anything about the history of philosophy of mind, you don't know anything about the current state of philosophy of mind. Certainly, I'm not an expert, but obviously, even after just reading an introductory book, I know more than you about it. And the
No
issue
problem.
is that we're not getting anywhere. And here's the thing. Here's the thing. I think that you're trying to genuinely have in-depth, serious conversations about this. But the problem is what you're doing is you're deciding on the outcome that you want, and then you're trying to find an argument that suits that outcome. You're not seeking for truth. You're not seeking for what actually is most likely to be the correct outcome or the correct position. You're saying, this is the position I already hold. What's an argument for that position? And the reason I can
gave
tell
you
that you're
inference to
doing
the
that,
best explanation.
the reason I can tell that you're doing that is that you're not actually sensitive to the reasons that I'm giving you to doubt the confidence that you are showing in the conclusion that you're drawing from this. Again, the
What
best,
reason did you
the
give me?
best
You came
possible,
up here and you said
the
Descartes,
best
cogito,
possible.
okay.
No, I know you're
That's
talking
what
about. You're talking about Thinker. I'm talking about our entire. We've been talking for almost 40 minutes. I'm talking about our
Yes, and
entire
we got to the
conversation
point where
and what I've
we got to the point
explained
where
to
we're
you.
doing-
What I've explained
we
to
were
you.
doing inference
What
to the
I've
best
explained to you.
explanation.
What I've explained to you is that inference to the best explanation cannot work here. The best you can
Why?
possibly get. Again, I've explained this to you so many times. The best that you can possibly get out of this argument is I don't know the answer to the hard problem of consciousness. So look, we've been talking about this for 40 minutes. I'm
Okay, well, last thing
absolutely
before
done
I
with
drop
it.
down.
So no, I'm
Last
not.
question.
No, I'm not doing that. it's clear that like we're not getting anywhere, we're not making any progress. And again, the best thing that we could possibly get out of that argument is that we don't know the best or we don't have an answer to the hard problem of consciousness. Now, my position is going to be that consciousness or conscious states, mental states, are identical to token brain states, or token mental states are identical to corresponding token brain states. As far as I'm concerned, that is explained. I think that we have a lot of information about the relationship, the causal relationship between brain states and mental states. I don't think we have any reason to think that there's a disconnect. We're just not getting anywhere. I'm sorry. Thank you for I don't know, for like trying to like throw a different like voice of reason into the conversation, Thinker. I know that you have different approaches to these things than me. I don't know where else to go with that.
Yeah, like I said, it's tagged from a different approach. Like I was saying in the chat that this sounds like it came from Russell.
I mean, that's entirely possible. I mean, for all I know, that was Russell.
No, he didn't call me lukewarm.
Oh yeah, that's fair. I don't know. Anyway, well, I appreciate you, trying to bring a voice of reason to the conversation. And here's something that I do want to point out to everybody. Catholic Thinker is called Catholic Thinker because he's Catholic. And so like the goal here again is not to just say like for neither Catholic Thinker or myself, neither of us are coming into this with the goal of what is the way that I can just confirm the thing that I believe at the expense of everything else. Right now, I do think that you have some biases, Catholic Thinker, and I think that you could probably make a really good case that I have some biases as well, and I think that that's like a normal thing that people have. But at the end of the day, I think that we're both genuinely trying to engage with the substance, and it just felt like there was no engagement with the substance from that individual. Like all I got was just like, this argument is right no matter what. And it's like I'm trying to explain that like what you're not doing is actually giving a reason to believe in the position that you want us to conclude in. At the very best, that argument gets us to I don't know.
Yeah, he got really upset when I was trying to point out that he's just regurgitating an argument he heard. And like, not that that's necessarily a bad thing, but be honest that like, yeah, no, I heard this argument. I thought it was good. Obviously, I didn't understand it as well. It doesn't mean that obviously, I think the argument is wrong, or at least a bad argument. But if you heard an argument and you believe, just for those in the chat that are hearing, like if you come across an argument and you think it's a good argument and you present it to someone and they respond with something and they basically destroy your presentation of the argument, that doesn't mean that the argument fails or that, you're wrong for having accepted the argument. It just might mean that you did a bad job presenting the argument. Go and look further into it. Look into the responses that you were given. See if there are counters in your argument to address those responses. And now you're growing in your knowledge. Like, that was the point that I was trying to get, is like he was just regurgitating an argument he had heard. That doesn't mean the argument is wrong. Maybe the original author had something that I wasn't aware of that does address how the cogito isn't a problem for the argument.
Yeah, I don't think that is somebody who's actually, well, maybe I'm wrong, but I didn't get the impression that that's somebody who's actually going to go and do research and figure something out. But I appreciate you. I'm going to drop you down and move on to the next person, but thank you so much.
Yeah, absolutely.
Take care. Yeah, W's for CT. Hey, by the way, guys, holy shit, we passed the 4,000 mark. So that's fucking cool. Didn't notice it in the middle of that conversation. What do we do now? Do we just like fucking go to 5 and just like see if we can get 1,000 more followers tonight? I guess. Okay. Here's the thing, people. I'm not gonna play favorites. I'm not going to 6.7. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna bring up the next person in line. That's it. That's the way that I always do these things. I'm not playing favorites for anybody. If you're in the guest queue or thinking about joining the guest queue, make sure that you're 18 plus and that you have some kind of argument or evidence that would provide rational justification to believe in God. Hi, Heaven. How old are you?
18. I turned 19 in August.
Okay. Do you believe in a God?
Yes, I do. I believe in a Christian God.
Okay. And then, what would you say is the best argument or evidence that would provide rational justification to believe in God?
I feel like the best evidence that to believing in Christian God is the context evidence that is proving what is happening now in like the end times and evidence in the Bible that says like say something the Nile River, for example, is
How
gonna
do I know
dry
it's
up.
not just a coincidence?
Because it hold on. I need right because it
Well, I can't hear you if you're not on the app. Well, if you don't come back, I'm just going to have to move on. No, Q-Top left because I didn't give him preferential treatment. I treated him like I would treat anybody else. Clearly, Bin Heaven is not actually going to come back. No, yeah, Q-Top left because I didn't give him special treatment. I bring people up in the order that they requested. Yeah. So if you are in the guest queue or thinking about joining the guest queue, please make sure that you're 18 plus and that you have some kind of argument or evidence that would provide rational justification to believe in God. Yeah, Q-Top is not certainly not worth prioritizing. And also, I'm not here for content or clicks or likes or anything like that. So I'm here for good conversations, and that's not going to happen with Q-Top. Anyway, hi, Dot. How old are you?
I'm 19.
And what God do you believe in?
I believe in the Christian God. I don't just believe in him, I know he exists.
Okay, and what would you say is the best argument or evidence that would provide rational justification to believe in God?
So I have like some questions that stem into concrete conclusions.
I just want the argument, please.
Yeah, they stem to arguments and then to a concrete
So
conclusion.
just give the argument.
So who refilled my hairspray?
Okay, premise 1. Who refilled my hairspray? Premise 2.
Who pre-sliced oranges?
Okay. Fair enough. If you're in the guest queue or thinking about joining, please make sure that you're 18 plus and have some kind of argument or evidence that would provide rational justification to believe in God. Okay. Hi, LeBlanc. Oh, what just happened?
Hello.
Hold on. I had 2 people come up at the same time. I didn't think Christian was connecting, and then I brought up LeBlanc. So, LeBlanc, you can re-request, and you'll be first in line. Hi, Christian. How old are you?
Hi, I'm 27.
Okay. And what God do you believe in?
I'm sorry?
What God do you believe in?
I am a Christian. I believe in Jesus Christ.
And what would you say is the best argument or evidence that would provide rational justification to believe in God?
I think I would just ask the opposite question. Do you think the devil is real? Because that's easier to prove.
No, of course not.
So the devil's not real.
No, of course not. So what would be the argument or evidence that would give us reason to believe in God?
That would make us believe in God? For me, I would just point out too, is just the Bible. And what's written in the Bible, we're seeing it today in our lives. And the prophecies that happen from the Bible.
How do we know it's not just a coincidence?
I'm sorry?
How do we know that it's not just a coincidence?
How can it be a coincidence if it happens over and over and over again?
Well, I think that the biggest question here is going to be, number one, like, coincidences can happen a lot. Like, unlikely things happen every day. I mean, there are 8 billion people on the planet, so at least once a day, or at least 8 times a day, some person has a 1 in a billion experience. So it's a very normal thing for unlikely things to happen. Maybe it's unlikely for coincidences that line up with things you consider to be prophecies to happen, but again, unlikely things happen. The biggest issue, I think, is going to be the fact that these prophecies aren't going to be expected under bear theism. So the best that you can possibly do is say that... Are you in a car?
Yeah.
Okay, you're driving?
No, I'm not driving. I'm parked.
I can hear the engine noise. I can hear you driving. All right.
No, it's
so
not
I'm just going to move on. All right. If you're in the guest queue or thinking about joining, make sure that you're 18 plus and have some kind of argument or evidence that would provide justification to believe in God. Quickly, thank you so much for the support, everybody. Also supporting Catholic Thinker while he was up here. I don't know how far back I need to go. Oh, it looks like a ways, Jesus. Bradley Cooper, thank you. Strange Oil, Lem, Isserly, Dan Blackroyd, Lem, Lupine, Poopman Jones, Bradley Cooper. Thank you guys for supporting Catholic Thinker. Grandpa, Nobody on Fire, thank you. Lupine, Meta Morgan, Aloran, thank you as well. Lem, Bradley N, got both of Bradley sending support. That I love it. Bertram, thank you so much, and Broken Tree Branch as well. You guys are all awesome. Thank you. Okay. So again, if you're in the guest queue, make sure you're an adult and you have some kind of argument for God. Now we'll get to LeBlanc. Sorry about the confusion before. Hey, thanks, Bertrand.
Hello.
Yeah, sorry about that, LeBlanc. When I added Christian and then it disappeared, so I thought that he just left. And then as soon as you connected, he connected too. So I apologize. He was just
no problem. No problem.
wasn't intentional. But I appreciate you requesting back so we can have the conversation. How old are you?
Yeah, I'm 20.
Okay.
And I'm gonna be frank with you. I'm not here for the formal argument. I'm here to just ask the question of the because I think therefore I am.
Okay. Do you believe in a God?
Yeah.
Which one?
I hold to the Christian belief.
Okay.
But
What's your question?
yeah, so my question about the because I'm able to think therefore I am, is it the person presupposing that they're thinking rather than, I guess, in a simulation or being programmed to be able to think?
No, the idea is just that there is something experiencing something. Like I'm having an experience, right? So the idea is that Descartes' whole, have you ever heard of the term Cartesian skepticism?
I haven't gone into that much depth with that position or the position of the mind. I'm like you. I've only been doing this for a couple months, maybe.
Yeah. Oh, I didn't ask that as like a test to like laugh at you if you didn't know something. I just don't want to waste a bunch of time explaining something to you that you already know. That's the only reason that I ask, not to point and laugh because I know something you don't. I don't think that that's a good way to do things. I don't do that, and I don't. It's dumb. Anyway,
I appreciate it.
Yeah. So Cartesian skepticism just means this idea of like stripping away every single belief that you have, every single thing that you think could be true, and trying to build up a worldview from the ground up, one piece at a time. So that was like Descartes' whole endeavor, is he wanted to say, how do I know anything is true if I say that I believe in absolutely nothing? Is there some foundational belief that I can get to without having to make any assumptions, any unwarranted assumptions? And, so things like, reliability of senses, uniformity of nature, all these things require assumptions in order for us to be justified to believe in them, or they at least require some other background information that you can't get just from them. Like I can't confirm that my senses work without assuming that my senses work to some degree, or prior having some reason to think that my senses work before I engage in testing my senses to see if they work. I can't assume that the universe is going to, or nature is going to be uniform from this moment to a minute from now, just because it seems like it was uniform in the past, right? Like these are all things that require other support to be justified. And so his whole idea was, is there something I can believe in and be justified in believing in without having to base it on an assumption? And so what he realized was, so I'm spending all of this time doubting. So I know that I'm doubting. I know for sure that I'm having the experience of doubting my beliefs. So if I can't believe anything else, at the very least, I can believe that I'm having doubts right now. But if I'm having doubts right now, since doubts are thoughts, that means that I'm thinking right now. And if it's true that I'm thinking right now, then there must be some me that exists in order to be able to think. Even if all my senses are unreliable, even if I'm actually a brain in a vat, at the very least, bare minimum, I can confirm for sure that there is some me, that is having an experience of having thoughts, and those thoughts are about doubting all of my beliefs.
Okay. I've heard of that, I guess, argument a little bit. I'm not that in depth in it. But the question was still, it still begs the question. He wouldn't still be able to justify that I'm programming you to be able to, I guess, not even think, but just react onto this. He's presuming that he's thinking, but let's say...
No, he is having the experience of thinking. He isn't saying he's not in that, not saying what the explanation for his experience of thinking is, but he's saying that he is having an experience of thinking. But we're not, this is pretty off topic. I've answered your question. I'm going to go ahead and move on. And hopefully we can have some good conversations here. So yeah, if you're in the guest queue or thinking about joining, make sure that you are 18 plus and that you have some kind of argument or evidence that would provide justification to believe in God. Hi, Bunny. How old are you?
Hi, I'm 19.
Do you believe in a God?
Yes, of course, I believe in God.
Okay, I'm going to count to 3, and then I want you to say 4. 1, 2, 3.
4.
Yeah, that was like a 4-second delay.
5,
Unfortunately, we're going to have
6.
to go ahead and move on. If you get a better connection, feel free to come back. Okay, is this going to do the weird thing where it seems like he's gone and then he connects in a couple seconds? I can't tell. How long do I wait before I bring up the next person? Okay, I guess we just move on to the next person. All right. Hi, Throne. How old are you?
Hey, I'm 30.
Okay. Do you believe in a God?
Yes.
Okay. Which God do you believe in?
What? The God of the Bible, the
Okay,
Lord your God, Jesus Christ.
Fair enough. And then what would you say is the best? Could you possibly turn the music down, please?
Oh yeah, for sure. My bad.
Thank you.
Let me walk over. Just give me 1 second. So, dude, are you like a kike Jew or like a nigger lover or something?
Okay.
Like, what's
Well,
your
that's
deal?
about the best that we think we can hope for from the religious, unfortunately. Just to be clear, while it is the case that I'm not Jewish, and yes, that was a legitimate racist. While it is the case that I'm not Jewish, and I'm certainly not, a black person, being those things, it's not a bad thing. It's not an insult. And I know, like, throwing around slurs isn't fun. It's not good. Don't do that. But it certainly doesn't hurt my feelings. Like, especially to say, like, I love black people. Like, that's going to hurt my feelings? Like, how in the fuck could that possibly hurt my feelings? If anything, it's a compliment. So, whatever. Anyway, if you're in the guest queue or thinking about joining, make sure that you're 18 plus and have some kind of argument or evidence that would provide rational justification to believe in God. Hi, how old are you? Hello? Nothing? Bueller? Hello? Fair enough. All right. Well, maybe we can have a conversation with somebody. Hi, Zane. How old are you?
Hello, I'm 18.
Do you believe in a God?
I do. If you're gonna ask which one, I'll just keep it to monotheistic God, not a specific religion, just one God that we would know to be God.
And what would you say is
can
the
I-
best argument or evidence that would provide rational justification to believe in God?
So I would like to outline an argument. Are you willing to go premise by premise?
Sure.
Okay, so my first premise is the things we experience in the physical world are composite.
Hold
or
on.
made of
Hold
parts.
on. Things we experience in the physical world are composite. How do you confirm that composite things exist?
Like let's say you have a table. Would you say that the table is just a thing in and of itself, or it's composed of parts?
Neither.
So the table does not have parts.
No, that's not what I said. You said, is it a thing in and of itself, which I assume means it doesn't have parts, or does it have parts? And I'm saying I don't agree with either of those.
So then what would you say it is?
The tables don't exist.
So are you an anti-realist?
I'm a mereological nihilist.
But that would entail that even then it's just simples composed table-wise. So it's parts, which are simples.
No.
composed in a table-wise form.
No, you're saying that there are composite things. I'm disagreeing. How do you confirm that there are composite things?
Okay. So what our sensory experience tells us, which is what we're looking at, which we would know to be a table. The mereological nihilist says the table itself does not exist, but it's rather just a bunch of symbols composed to make our sensory experience, to convince our sensory experience that it is a table.
I mean, I think that that's weirdly loaded language. Maybe you could just say that there are symbols arranged table-wise. That would be a better way to say it. But again, your first premise here is saying that we experience things that are composite, which means you're claiming that composites exist. So I need the argument that composites exist.
Well, if I'm making the claim that, well, I don't understand how. I want to hear your mereological nihilist claim.
You're making the claim.
But like, what
did you claim that composites exist? Yes or no?
Yes, my claim is
fantastic. So what is the demonstration that composition obtains? You could just give me the answer to the SEQ. I'll take that.
Can I'll answer.
Yeah,
I think I've said this before.
Yeah, so
our sensory experience
No.
us...
No. What I'm asking for is the answer to the special composition question from Van Inwagen. So what you need to answer is, under what conditions do some X's form a Y? Like under what conditions do some X's compose a Y?
Well, composite things don't stay in composition due to themselves. There's a precondition simple that
No, you need to answer the question. Under what conditions, what are the conditions under which composition obtains?
The power of existential inertia?
Power of existential inertia.
To keep things in arrangement?
No, existential inertia just means that
keeps symbols in arrangement.
No, you would have to say, no, hold on. Existential inertia means that a thing that exists continues existing until acted on by some outside thing to stop it from existing. That's assuming that the composites exist. I'm saying, what are the conditions where the composites where the symbols actually compose the thing to begin with? You can't appeal to existential inertia when what you're trying to explain is, how does the thing actually come into existence in the first place? So under what conditions do a set of X's compose a Y that does not equal X?
Under what condition do certain X's, but I'm not saying that the Y even exists of itself. I'm saying
No, I don't care. I'm not saying that you're saying that it exists of itself. You're saying that tables are composed of parts, right?
Yes, it's
okay.
Composite.
So yes, 100%. So how do you confirm that in fact tables exist and are composite?
I confirm that through my sensory experience.
No, you have an experience that seems to be like a table, but that's not confirming that seeming is accurate. So how do we confirm that seeming is accurate, that there actually is a table?
But that's irrelevant.
No, it's not irrelevant. You've made the claim that composites exist, and so now it's your dialectical burden to demonstrate that your claim is accurate. How do you? I've asked you this 100. I've asked you this over and fucking goddamn it! Hold on.
Can I repeat my premise?
No, hold on. The stupid fucking. I hate TikTok so fucking much sometimes. Okay. So what you need to do, and I've asked you this 100 times. Yeah, I muted it, Bradley. Oh yeah, they're getting blocked. Okay. So what I'm asking, and I've asked you this a bunch of times now, is that you support the claim that you've made that is in your first premise. Otherwise, you need to concede the argument. And so I'll ask this last time. And because I've asked you this so many times, I'm just going to say, and we're all going to know, that if you don't answer with the conditions under which composition obtains, that that's a concession, and you know that you can't do that. So what are the conditions under which composition obtains?
In my sensory experience.
Okay, so fair enough. He cannot give the answer to the conditions under which composition obtains, so there's no reason to accept an argument that is based on composition from someone who can't demonstrate it. All right. So if you're in the guest queue or thinking about joining, make sure that you are 18 plus and that you have some kind of argument or evidence that would provide rational justification to believe in a God. All right. Fair enough. Saw a guest on a previous live. Yeah, Zane, I know you said that we experience things that are composite. That's saying that there are composite things that we experience, right? Which is saying that composite things exist. So you need to demonstrate that composition obtains. No. SX, whatever. You're just... Honestly, I may as well just fucking block you at this point. All right, how quick do you want to get? How old are you?
I'm 18. I turned 18 January. Quick question before we
What
start.
God do you believe in?
So I don't actually believe in a God. I believe in consciousness as a
Okay,
whole.
fair enough. All right, make sure that you're an adult and you have some kind of argument or evidence for God. Hi, Bunny.
Yo.
How old are you?
Yo. I'm 19.
And what God do you
I
believe
believe
in?
in God, so I believe in Allah. All right,
Okay.
so I want to.
And then what would you
ask
say
you
is the
some
best
question,
argument
I
or
want to
evidence
give
that would
some
provide
argument.
rational justification to believe in God?
All right, so I would say revelation. Revelation direct from God. All right.
Okay, and how do you know that it came
my
from
first
God?
question would be, how would you? Yeah, because God, it will be God showing His power through His revelation.
Yep, and how did you confirm that that thing that you're calling revelation came from God?
Because it is God's power, but we can understand what God's power
Yeah,
is
you're
from.
just saying that it's
How you
God, but
understand,
how
for
did you
example,
confirm?
How do you understand what is God's power?
No, how did you confirm that it was God and that you weren't mistaken?
Yeah, okay. I want to give you my argument first. I want to understand how you understand what's God's power to be. For
No, what I'm
example,
asking you, you're
what
saying that you know
evidence
God
would you
exists
require?
because of revelation. How did you confirm that the thing you're calling revelation actually came from God?
Okay, because I told you, because it will be God showing His power through His
Yeah, that's
revelation.
just assuming the conclusion.
For example, I will be
You're just assuming the conclusion, Bunny.
Yeah,
What you're
okay,
doing is
yeah.
you're saying, I know it was God because
Yeah,
it was
I'm
God.
assuming, but-
Hold on, Bunny, stop. You're saying, I know it was God because it was God. That's not sufficient. You need to give a non-circular explanation for how you
Right,
know
but-
it was God.
Yeah, okay, that's what I'm trying to do. I want to know what's your criteria to believe in a God. For example, what kind of
Okay,
evidence are
so
you
that wasn't
trying
an
to
answer
see?
to the question, Bunny. I've asked it multiple times. I'm going to give you one
I
last
have an answer,
opportunity.
but I want to know
And if
your
you don't
criteria.
if you don't directly answer the question, then we all know it's because you can't answer the question. Okay. So, what is the way?
Alright,
What is the
okay, I'll
method that
answer.
you use to determine that that revelation actually came from God?
All right, I will go to the prophecies, which no human can predict. or
Okay, so
claim
you
that
don't have
will
a
happen in
method
the
that you were
future,
able to use
and
to confirm that the revelation came from God?
I already given you my answer.
No, you haven't given me the answer. So what was I need you to give me the methodological tool that you used to determine that the revelation that you think you received came from God. This is genuinely the last time I'm asking. If you give anything other than a
already told you
methodological
that
answer, then
you
we
can
all
answer
know that
more.
it's because you can't answer. So what is the method?
I already gave you my answer. I said we get the proof. Okay, I already told you we get the evidence from revelation.
Okay. So the way that you know that revelation is from God is because the revelation was from God. Got it. All right. If you are in the guest queue or thinking about joining, make sure that you're 18 plus and that you have some kind of argument or evidence that would provide rational justification to believe in God. Thank you, everybody, for the support. Bertram, Lupine, Radio Spencer, Nobody on Fire. You guys are fucking awesome. Thank you so much. Oh, thanks, Peter. Okay. All right. Hi, Max. How old are you?
I'm 21.
Do you believe in a God?
I'm more of a polytheism guy, that there could be multiple.
Okay. Do you believe that there's like an immaterial mind that created and sustains the universe?
So I see
That's
it
a yes
as,
or
like,
no. That's a yes or no.
I'm torn, man. I'm trying to figure it out. That's why we're
Okay.
here.
So you
I'm
don't
torn
currently
between-
have a belief in such a being, right?
Can I say one thing?
No, you can answer the question, and if you don't answer, the next thing you say is anything other than an answer to that question, I'm just moving on anyway.
Yes. We'll say yes.
Yes to what?
Yes, I believe that there's a soul entity out there that created everything.
Okay, and what would you say is the best argument or evidence that would give us reason to believe in that thing?
To me, we live on a linear plane of time, and it's all cause and effect, and there would have to be a beginning.
Why would there have to be a beginning?
Because for something to happen, you need an action.
Yeah, why does there have to be a first action?
Because we exist. Because we're here. and
No,
I'm
that's just
talking to you.
assuming that there had to be a first action. Why does there have to be a first action? Why can't it just go back infinitely?
Well, that would be beyond our linear plane. That would be a different dimension out of our comprehension.
I mean, that's a claim. Why can't it just go back infinitely? You need to demonstrate that it can't go back infinitely.
And that was where I was going. It's two sides of me that's debating within myself. That's why.
Okay, well, it doesn't sound like you actually have a reason to believe in this God, because the only reason that you were able to give is one that you can't actually support. So it sounds like you don't actually have a reason to believe in this.
That's why I was more hinting towards why wouldn't there be a beginning to the cause and effect? That's why I was going to ask you.
Okay, so every time we see something made, it's made out of some other stuff that already existed, right?
Correct.
So if we were to examine something that began to exist, we would know that it was either made out of other stuff that also began to exist by being made out of other stuff, or it was made out of something that never began to exist. Obviously, if we're examining something that was made out of stuff that never began to exist, then that means that that stuff existed infinitely into the past, and therefore the universe existed infinitely into the past for that stuff to exist in it. However, if we're examining something that began to exist, and it was made out of other stuff that also began to exist, then we could examine what was that made out of. And we're going to hit the same thing. It's either made out of something that didn't begin to exist, in which case the universe has an infinite past, or it's made out of some other thing that also began to exist, and then we examine that thing. And maybe you can see what's happening here, but every time we examine a thing that began to exist, no matter how far back in time we go, we're going to have two options. Either it was made out of other stuff that began to exist, and there's just an infinite chain of stuff being made out of other stuff that began to exist, or eventually you reach a thing that never began to exist. Either way, the universe has to have an infinite past for things to continue to be made out of other things.
If we look at it as a linear plane, correct. But
I don't know what you're talking about, linear plane. I don't know what you're talking about.
Okay, so like I'm talking about time as a whole. It moves forward. You can't go backwards.
No.
Correct.
Nope. We have no reason to think that.
So you believe time can reverse?
Physics tells us that there's no preferred arrow of time. We experience time. We experience time moving in one direction. That's
Correct.
true. But as far as physics tells us, there is no actual arrow of time. There is no
It just is.
There is no objective direction that time moves, and also because of relativity, it's most likely that we live in a B-theory universe, and in a B-theory universe, all moments in time are equally real. So there is no moments coming into and going out of existence. So every moment just exists eternally without beginning or end. They just don't exist at the same time, if that makes sense. Kind of like how 10 miles away from me exists just as real as where I am. It's just not right here. In the same way, 10 minutes from now exists. It's just as real as right now. It just doesn't exist right now.
Mm-hmm. Now, okay, in that, do you think it's changed? Like, do we have free will?
I don't believe in free will, no. Well, I mean, I guess we could say, I technically call myself a compatibilist, but, that is just saying free will in the sense of that, I'm the proximate cause of my actions. And in that sense, I believe in free will, but I don't believe in what would be called libertarian free will. If you need me to
What would be a
explain that.
libertarian free will?
Actually having the option to have done otherwise.
Understood.
Because, like, let's say for
So you
example, I'm standing in the grocery store, and I'm trying to figure out whether I want, pork steaks or some beef ribs, and I'm trying to decide which I want, and then I pick the beef ribs. Now, if libertarian free will is true, then we would be able to wind the clock back, hypothetically, to that exact moment when I'm making that decision, and without changing anything at all, it would be possible for me to instead choose the pork. But from my perspective, even if you ran that moment over and over again a million times, it seems if all the information is the same, if all the preferences and ideas in my head are exactly the same, all the external influences around me are exactly the same, I can't imagine how it would be possible for me to sometimes pick the beef and other times pick the pork. As far as I can tell, if I'm picking the beef every time. In that exact scenario, I mean, no matter how many times we run it. But if libertarian free will is true, then I would be able to pick either one without any of the circumstances changing. That doesn't make any sense to me.
I agree with that.
And then
No,
also,
I mean,
go ahead.
So you're saying all time that has happened, will happen, or is happening is one. It is going to happen, and you can't change that. Okay, like we said, cause and effect, etc. The way energy reacts in general. I know we're getting a little off topic here, but like, would you say that energy is expelled in different ways? Say it could be a human, or it could be a transformer running through a power line. Whatever way the system it's running through is built, it's going to react the way it was built. So, like your decision making, for example, everything leads up to you picking beef, no matter what. Do you think we're more of watching a movie and that's our reality versus being an avatar and actually, I don't even know how to put in the word, being an avatar and making real decisions?
Yeah, I mean, I think that we have the experience of making decisions, and I think that, like, in a lot of important ways we're responsible for our decisions, but I don't know that it's true that we could choose differently. But it doesn't sound like we're making any progress towards God, though, so I may just move on to the next person.
Oh, I understand, man. I appreciate your thoughts. We're not far off from each other at all. I more agree with you than not. I'm on the fence myself, so I was just getting a like-minded person's opinion.
All right. Well, I appreciate you, and I hope that you have a good rest of your evening. Oh, I always forget about this, but I do have a YouTube, so if you guys want to go and subscribe over there, that would be helpful. And then also I have a Discord that I've started where we're trying to build community. Not super active at the moment. Don't have a lot of people in there right now. Still fairly new, but the goal is to just build another space where we can all come together, have a bit of community, learn together, grow together, that kind of stuff. If you're interested, awesome. If not, no problem. Okay, yeah, and then just move on to the next person. If you're in the guest queue, make sure you're an adult and you have some kind of argument or evidence that would provide justification to believe in God. Yeah, Catholic Thinker's there.
Hello.
Hi. How old are you? Yeah, that's kind of what I thought. What is the issue?
Hello then. There's not an issue. I just want to have a quick debate with you about this topic.
It doesn't sound like you do. What God do you believe in?
So, as I said, I don't believe in a God, but I've looked through.
Okay, yeah, that's right. All right, fine. Just stop. Don't come back. Okay. If you're in the guest queue or thinking about joining, make sure that you do believe in God, that you are 18 plus, and you have some kind of argument or evidence that would provide justification to believe in God. Hey, thank you. Thank you, Casey. You're awesome. I know, Killdozer. I do indeed. Hi, Vixity. How old are you?
We are the invaders. We lord.
You gotta from the diaphragm. From the diaphragm.
We
You gotta
fight
from the
for
diaphragm. No, you just gotta from the breathe from the diaphragm. You go, ooh, right? Like,
Okay.
all right, you got this. Maybe next time. All right. Yeah, if you are in the guest queue or thinking about joining, make sure that you're an adult. You have some kind of argument or evidence that would provide justification to believe in God. Hi, Barber. How old are you?
Yo, hello.
Yeah, hi. How old are you?
18, bro.
What God do you believe in?
Jesus Christ, sir.
And what would you say is the best argument or evidence that would provide rational justification to believe in God?
I'm gonna just go ahead and start with just in general the creation of the earth, and just how perfectly it was created. It's really just impossible of how just in a little explosion could, do such crazy things.
Well, nobody says
Just
an
as a
explosion did anything, so I don't know what you're talking. Like it sounds like what you're
no,
doing
no,
is
no.
you're trying to
Sorry,
argue against a
not
straw
right now,
man.
Phoebe. Mm-hmm. No, understand.
What's the explosion?
Okay. No. The little Big Bang thing.
Yeah,
I
there's no
thought that's where you're
explosion
going
involved
for.
in
I'm
the Big
sorry.
Bang.
Got you. Also, just the Bible in general, that it proves, hey, God is real.
How does the Bible give us reason to believe in God?
I'm gonna go ahead with the prophecies. Everything, everything's going on right now. Everything's lining up, and yeah,
What
it
prophecy?
could just be a coincidence.
What prophecy?
Huh?
What prophecy?
The Euphrates River drying up right now.
Yeah, and where's that in the Bible?
So I have not exactly where it's at, but I just know it's in the Revelations
So
and
it's
throughout the Bible.
Yeah, no, it is in Revelation. And the problem with it being in Revelation is that Revelation is all about stuff happening in 1st century, 2nd century Rome. It has nothing to do with prophecies for the distant future. It's all about what was going on then. That's why, like, the whole mark of the beast, the number of the beast, all that stuff, that was all about Emperor Nero. So Revelation is about Emperor Nero. It has nothing to do with prophecies for, the future, certainly not for our times. So
Got you.
yeah, so this has nothing to do with us. It has nothing to do with it doesn't give us any reason to think that things happening now line up with it, because if things happening now did line up with Revelation, they don't, but if they did, that would be completely unexpected under Christianity, because again, that was not about a prophecy for the distant future. So is there a reason to believe in God?
Yes. Hold up. Also, I want to counter that. I know it doesn't align with it, but I also got a quick question. Can you disprove that God is, that he's not a real thing?
Yeah, we can easily show that God doesn't exist. So a good way to show that would be that that either God was always creating or he was not always creating. That's a true dichotomy. If he was always creating, then the universe always existed. If it always existed, then it was never brought into existence, which means God didn't create it. However, if God began creating at some time, if he wasn't always creating, then he began creating, which means that he changes, which means that he must be in time. But if he's in time, he didn't create time. And if he didn't create time, he didn't create the universe. So no matter what, God didn't create the universe. But if God exists, he did create the universe. Therefore, God doesn't exist.
Gotcha. One thing, in the beginning of the Bible, it does says, in the beginning, it goes on with that line with Jesus or, God. He created everything, and when he created life,
But he
that's
didn't
when,
create everything.
time happened, and
But
that's
he
when the
didn't.
yours.
Even in the Bible story, he didn't create everything.
What do you mean?
He didn't create the primordial waters.
Define that, please.
In the Bible, it says that he created from the primordial waters. He did not create the primordial waters. So even in the Bible, God didn't create everything. There was other stuff that existed that God used to make the earth out of.
How is that?
That's just that's the story the Bible tells. Obviously, it's not true. There is no God, and the earth wasn't created.
Okay, I also got a quick question. If God isn't real, and you're over here spending your time. And,
Okay, we're not going to
I'm
do
not trying
Pascal's wager. I don't care about Pascal's wager. I'm not scared of going
I
to
don't
hell.
know who that is. I don't
Yeah,
know who
Pat,
that
what
is.
you're
I
about
don't
to
know who
say.
that
Well,
is.
what do you lose if you believe, but you lose so much if you're wrong? Like, I don't care.
No, not at all. No, not at all. That's not even close to what I was saying. No, I just want to ask a quick question. Why are you arguing about something that isn't real and spending your time on it? No offense, nothing. None of that. I just want to know.
Because I enjoy debating, and because I think it's an important topic to debate.
What makes it so important if it's not a real thing?
Yeah,
That's
because
the
a lot of
crazy-
people
that's-
a lot of people do believe in God, and then because they
Mhm.
believe in God, they use that to make laws that hurt people. Now, fortunately for me, I guess I got lucky being born a straight white cis man, but not everybody was that lucky. There are people who are of obviously over 50% of the population are women, right? Or
Mhm.
females, whatever. There are people who
Yeah.
are gay, are trans, people who are minority races. There are lots of people in lots of groups who are negatively impacted by the religious beliefs that people have in this country and around the world. And so the more people who are out here convincing people to stop believing in that nonsense, the quicker we'll get to a state of the world where we don't have people being oppressed by religion. Now, will oppression still exist? Probably. And then I'll be out there debating against that too.
Okay, another thing with
Okay, well, do you
proving
have
that
any
God
reason
is
to believe in
real.
God?
Yes, the Bible and how it was created and the
Yeah,
person who
the way the
created
Bible
it,
was created is
how
just a bunch of
everything
people
aligns
wrote it.
throughout the world.
Yeah, I know. And, there are dozens and dozens and dozens of different people who've written Spider-Man, but all the stories connect to each other. It's crazy. There's so many hyperlinks from each story to the other stories. Tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, millions even of hyperlinks from one story to another, written by dozens and dozens of different Spider-Man authors. So just because a story,
Hold up, bro. Let
just
me
because a
speak, let me
story,
speak, let me
just
speak.
just because a story has a bunch of different authors, and the story, like all the later stories connect back to the earlier stories, has nothing to do with the stories being true. It just means that people wrote it and paid attention to making them connect. If the Bible was true, it wouldn't have all the contradictions that it has. For example,
Got you, bro. No,
Paul
it doesn't
wouldn't
have
disagree with
contradictions.
Jesus all the time. So when did Jesus say that the new covenant meant the old law was going away?
Hold up, bro. Let me go back to what
what
you were
verse?
saying. How?
What verse did
Hold
Jesus
up.
say that the old covenant was going away, or that
Can
the
you let
old
me
law
speak,
was going
please?
away?
Can you
Yeah.
let me speak, please?
Yep, you can speak by answering your question. You
Yeah.
said that there are no contradictions in the Bible.
No, bro. Hold on. Why
You
you
said
have
that
to
there
be
are
rude
no
about it, though?
contradictions in the Bible. That was a claim that you made. So now you can either agree that there are contradictions, or we can discuss some contradictions.
That we were going on about something before that.
So are
before
there
I said
contradictions
something.
in the
I'll
Bible,
answer
yes
it
or
one.
no?
Bro, this is what you do with every single
Are
person.
there
And then,
contradictions in the
look,
Bible,
you
yes or no?
hold up, and then you take them off
Okay.
your life.
Well, so this is going to be your last opportunity. If you can't answer the question, everybody knows what that means. Are there contradictions in the Bible, yes or no?
No.
Okay, fantastic. So when in the Bible did Jesus say that the old law was going to go away after with the old, when the new covenant came in?
The New Testament happened. That's when the old law
Yep.
went away.
Yeah. What verse does Jesus say that's the case?
What verse does he say that's not the case?
Oh, that's a really interesting question, because it was actually in Matthew. I think I
Tell
want to say
me.
Matthew 5. Let me double check here and make sure that I got the right place. Because it would have been, but angry. Nope, it's not that one. Maybe it's 17. Yeah, okay. So Jesus says, Matthew 5:17, "Do not think that I have come to abolish the law or the prophets. I have come not to abolish, but to fulfill. For truly I tell you, until heaven and earth pass away, not one letter, not one stroke of a letter will pass from the law until all is accomplished. Therefore, whoever breaks one of the least of these commandments and teaches others to do the same will be called least in the kingdom of heaven. But whoever does them and teaches them will be called great in the kingdom of heaven. So, for I tell you, unless your righteousness exceeds that of the scribes and Pharisees, you will never enter the kingdom of heaven." So Jesus is saying that for all the rest of the existence of heaven and earth, the old law will still be in effect and you have to follow it. So that's what Jesus says. But Paul says no, the old law went away.
Also, it really just depends on. No, it really just it depends how you interpret the text.
So you're saying that Paul never taught that the law was going away?
What what chapter was it again? Matthew what? Can you read me the lines again?
Matthew 5:17-20 is when Jesus says the old law is not going away. And then another example, or one example of Paul saying that it is going to go away is in Galatians 3. So
Galatians 3.
Mm-hmm.
Let me read that real quick.
Galatians 3, and I think it was 23 to 25. 23 to 25. And that is Paul saying that now before faith came, we're imprisoned and guarded under the law until faith would be revealed. Therefore, the law was our disciplinarian until Christ came, so that we might be reckoned as righteous by faith. But now that faith has come, we are no longer subject to a disciplinarian. So Paul is saying that we used to be subject to the law, but now we're not anymore because of Jesus. So Paul disagrees with Jesus.
Okay, no. You have to understand that whenever Jesus died, he fulfilled the the purpose of the old law.
No,
therefore,
he said
changing the believers.
Nope. He said he is not coming to abolish it. So whatever you think fulfill means, it can't mean that he's getting rid of it, because abolish means getting rid of it, and Jesus said, "I'm not getting rid of it."
Hold up, let me speak. You kind of stopped me right there. Again, when Jesus died, it fulfilled the purpose of the old law, changing how believers. When they're made
again,
new,
what does fulfill mean?
New. Hold up.
What does fulfill mean?
Let me speak.
What does fulfill mean?
Let me speak.
Now, you're not going to speak until you answer what fulfill
speak?
means. What does fulfill mean?
Oh, you see what you do to
what
every
does
single
fulfill
person who
mean?
hops on this life.
What does fulfill mean?
It does not mean to abolish it, but simply.
Okay, so it doesn't mean abolish. So that
relate
means
to it.
so it doesn't mean that it's going away, right?
No, it's not going away.
Right.
but
So
simply
Jesus was
changing how
saying.
they think.
So Jesus was saying that he is not getting rid of it, right?
He's not. He's changing
Right.
how
So
believers
Jesus is
think.
saying. So Jesus is saying the law is not going away, and then Paul says, in fact, that the law is going away, that they did go away. So that's a contradiction. So it sounds like you're just not willing to engage. Do you actually have anything of substance that give us a reason to believe in God, or should I just move
Are
on?
no longer under law. It says that.
We're no longer subject to the law. Yep. And Jesus
until
says.
Jesus died.
And Jesus says.
Jesus died and fulfilled the purpose of the old law.
Yeah. What does fulfill mean?
Oh my gosh, bro! You're going in roller coasters again.
So you never actually answered what fulfill means. You said it doesn't mean abolish, but now you're saying fulfill again. So it sounds like you're trying to pretend that it does mean abolish. What does fulfill mean?
Can you tell me what fulfill means, since you know?
Yeah, I would say that it just means like doing the law. Like, for example, every time I get in my car and I put my seatbelt on, I'm fulfilling the law to wear my seatbelt. That's a fulfillment of the law.
Why did you say like? You said like.
Like what?
Keyword like. That means that you don't. You don't fully know. You're just.
I said like
assuming.
What?
No, you're assuming.
I said like what? What are you talking about?
Bro, you said it's like if I were to put a seatbelt on.
Yes,
you don't know
that's
exactly
an example.
What it is. You're
that's
assuming.
That's an example.
Okay, tell me
Barber.
what it is. No. Tell me what it is.
Yes, an example of fulfilling is example of fulfilling a law is when I wear my seatbelt to fulfill the law that says I have to wear my seatbelt. It's doing the thing prescribed. That's fulfilling.
You're like, you're kind of going all over this place, but.
Oh right,
fulfilling, dude.
does your
come on.
does your coach does your coach want to come on and debate me since you can't?
Coach, what do you mean, coach?
Whoever's back there feeding you your lines.
No one's back, bro. No one's behind me.
I just heard him telling you what to say.
No, he's listening.
Oh, he's just listening. He's not just telling you what to say. But a second ago, nobody was there. Huh. So weird how a second ago nobody was there, but now suddenly there is somebody there. But oh no, he's not telling me what to say, even though he just told me what to say.
No,
all right, well, I'm
he's
done,
beside
Barber.
me.
That's enough. I've had enough. Oh shit. Oh, I'm sorry. I wasn't watching the comments. I'm sorry. Fuck. Well, that's my bad. I don't pay attention to the comments, y'all. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Fuck. Well, now I feel like an ass. Well, I was already dropping him. Yeah, probably CT. I guess I don't know who. Yeah, he told me that he was an adult. Obviously, he wasn't, but no, I agree, CT. But I don't know who I would make that. What's happening? Okay. Oh. Okay. Sorry. All right. If you are 18 plus, or excuse me, if you're in the guest queue, make sure you're 18 plus and have some kind of argument or evidence that would provide rational justification to believe in a God. Hi, Shifty. How old are you?
I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm 16, but I have a.
Okay. Hi, Meow. How old are you?
I'm 18 years old.
Okay. Can you do anything about the background noise?
Yes, hang on 1 second. I have one thing to say, man. Science proves that Earth has.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. Fair enough. Well, holy shit, guys. We got 4,031 followers tonight. I think I was at like 3,920 maybe when I started. So that's like well over 100 followers tonight. I call that a massive, massive win. We've had really high viewership tonight as well. I call that an enormous win. I think we've had some decent conversations. Yeah, fantastic. I agree, Bradley Cooper. I know a lot of times I'll go till hey, pew, 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 pew. A lot of times I'll go till 10 p.m. my time. But it has been a long week. I think that I've done like 3 hours every night this week. Maybe not. Don't fact check me on that. Yeah, thanks, Daniel. I'm super stoked about hitting 4,000. But now, you know, we're just going to 5,000, right? See if we can keep going. And but I appreciate everybody. Thank you so much. As I always say at the end of my streams, remember that tomorrow is not guaranteed. Oh shit! You don't know how many opportunities you're going to have to you know, let your family and friends know how much you care about them. So do not miss those opportunities. And then what we're going to do here is a why doesn't everybody when I end here